was trying to figure out what was that.
That would be much. Okay, wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Grab a gavel.
A year before the certificate goes in.
All right, gonna call this meeting to order tonight. I did. Okay, meeting's called to order. Have a request starting, want to have the cell phone silenced and put away. Shouldn't be used unless you are on call. I think you are on call.
Not now.
Not now, but if you're on call,
Yes.
you can have it on Viber, so. Okay, I'm on call. I'm always on call, so. I'm gonna make sure it's turned down. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Who? Second, I'm gonna. Right, that's exactly why I'm.
Next time I'm gonna do this. Darn it.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under heaven, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do a roll call for him, or have you already done it? Nope.
Miller,
Here.
Craig,
Here.
Alan, here. Miller, or sorry. Nichols,
Here.
Geisler, here. Beavers,
Here.
Geisler.
Here. All right, thank you. Public comments, do we have any public comments? They're not part of the agenda for tonight. Anybody online, Greg?
No one's here.
All right, perfect, thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a
from
motion.
February.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, any discussion, any questions, any concerns? All right. Have a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right.
Wow.
The minutes.
It's been a long day, I'm sorry.
The minutes have been approved. Treasurer's report. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make motion. I'll second.
Hey, any discussion, any questions? Anything we need to talk about? All right, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Hey, treasurer's report has been approved. All right, can I get a motion to open the public hearing for commercial facilities exemption for 105 East Grand River?
I make motion. I'll second it.
All right, perfect. All in favor of opening the public hearing?
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, discussion.
I'm glad to see that something's being done with it.
Yeah, yep.
Very excited for it to happen.
So this is the whole tax abatement thing. And so a couple, like, sounds like if I remember from when we read it, there's a decision we need to make, whether we're gonna approve, is that in this meeting? We're gonna approve the tax abatement, and we have three options, right? We can not approve it, we can approve it for 12 years, or we can approve it for a lesser amount of time and say, yeah, we're approving it, but we have the right to extend it, or it will be extended, meeting some criteria. Does anybody, that ring a bell? Yeah. So. Discussion on that? So I do, okay, so I have a question, and Jen, this goes into where I, don't take this, right? Let's say Jen, let's say they make these things, so they're, us doing a tax abatement requires additional people to be hired and certain things to happen and that type of thing. We get 3 years down the road, that hasn't happened. Are we within our rights to say, okay, tax abatement stops because they aren't following the rules?
I think in the past, we've given them like another opportunity that you have this time limit that you promised.
Okay, yep. I'm good, and that's really my
Yeah.
question. We're not locked into 12 years. I talked to Jen earlier today and I said, hey, some of the questions I'm gonna ask aren't necessarily pointed at her. It's more, we're learning the whole tax abatement and that whole thing, so I'm not concerned with her, but we are kind of setting a precedent.
Cause we had one at one point that, that wasn't meeting the requirements, so that person had to, come back and then show us what progress was being made and all this other stuff, so, you know, we can go back and question it or whatever if it ain't happening in the time frame.
Okay,
Because we've had the precedence of that, having to do that, it might lean us towards doing the approval with some criteria to approve again, instead of doing the full 12 years.
I'll say though, right, can I speak or?
yep, sure, go ahead.
So in the commercial lending environment right now, it's brutal. And if you go in front of any bank and say, we might have our taxes accelerated in 4 or 5 years, the likelihood of getting lending for this project, I mean, being the first $1 million redevelopment in a small town comes with its own challenges and hurdles. I'm lending a lot of my, you know, reputation at the bank and with these projects and experience to keep this one rolling. But I can tell you that it could become a stumbling block if you said, you know, we want to re-extend. I don't mind if you put criteria in that because that gives them the obligation to meet whatever the criteria is. But if you say, you know, you have to come back and we'll extend it, we don't know who the people will be sitting around the table is.
That is one of the risks, yeah.
And it would be really difficult to get through the bank. And, you know, and the MEDC conversation too might get derailed because there's a debt coverage ratio that we're just falling in right now with all the help that this project's given. And a lot of these, so the sheet that I handed out to you guys, I wanted to highlight. So this is a building I did at 402 South Washington. This is the building where Midtown Building is. And there's a tax abatement program that I used on some of the buildings in Lansing called NEZ. It's a neighborhood enterprise zone. If you take a portion of the building, if you turn it into residential, I did this in 2004 when there was nothing new being built in Lansing. And they were trying to get some housing. So they captured the taxes at the rate and where I purchased the building. Remember, these tax abatements, you're not writing anybody a check. You're just foregoing the increase that the city will receive for a period of time of agreement.
As I understand it, whatever the tax rate is now is what you'll continue to pay for the next 12 years if we approve 12.
Well, we
It
were
just
just
won't
looking,
go up.
on the CRA, I think it's a little different. I think some of the improvements actually will come up.
Okay,
So that's
okay.
what she and I were just looking at here, but.
Yeah.
But the way it worked in this case was, in 2004, I had a 12-year neighborhood enterprise zone. The portion of the building that I turned into loss, the taxes were frozen. And again, when I bought it, it was, you know, pigeons flying through it. It was a very low tax rate. But in 2017, that benefit had expired. And you can see that in 2018, how the taxes went up. And currently we pay $18,000 on the building. So had they not used that tool to incentivize me to redevelop it, that building would have fallen into further disrepair.
Which building was it?
It's the building where Midtown Brewing Company is.
Yep,
In that end of the block, you know, we spurred other development with that. So the way these tools work typically is you get everybody else excited around you, people start paying attention, other investment and other improvement happens. So if you take the SEV in the surrounding area, it goes up directly more than what, if this building didn't receive any type of benefit and went completely on the tax roll, it wouldn't get done. But if you give it the benefit and put it on the tax roll, in the surrounding area, in about a 3-block radius, you'll see property values increase typically, that they increase more than what the foregone tax would be on this particular building. And then, you know, at the end of this benefit, if it's a 10-year or 12-year benefit, now you've got $1 million facility in the middle of Laingsburg, and it's enriching, you know, paying for a lot of different things. Now, in the neighborhood enterprise zone, for instance, there was a government burden because that building isn't sprinkled. And, you know, there are sidewalks and there's a lot of services that are offered in Lansing that they rely on those property taxes for. This building also is hampered by not having domestic water. So we're putting another $150,000 into the sprinkler system, the generators, the holding tanks, all those other things. So this new facility shouldn't burden you in any way, and actually probably foregoes a burden that you might have there because the current building's not sprinkled, it's an old building, and, you know, so I think this one makes a lot of sense, not just because it's Jen and Ernie. The other part of it too is I've seen these go through for bars and restaurants, and that's somewhere where, you know, the benefit of the building is going to kind of enrich the owner. you know that this is a public good. I mean, she's charging
Yeah.
bare minimum to make this happen. So,
So, like I said, I saw Jen in the parking lot today and I kind of grabbed her and I said, hey, I'm gonna ask questions tonight that may be sound like I don't want to do it, and that's not as far from the truth as I.
you don't, you don't have
Yeah,
to apologize.
yeah,
I get it.
just so
Yeah,
you
I get it
know,
completely.
yeah.
No,
It's
that's
just,
why I wanted to
we
come
need
in.
to learn and you're helping us learn.
While I was
So,
sitting there, I thought, you know what, I have a perfect, in this building,
Yep.
7,000 square feet, it's about the same tax rate, so this is a perfect example, so you can see how the benefit happens. So my taxes are threefold, you know, what they were before that. And
Also, my understanding is that our SED just went up when we bought the building, right?
yeah,
Correct? It was uncapped, and so we'll still pay more taxes than the
Right.
funds the former owners did.
Correct. She'll be taxed on her, the
With the
100,000
value.
that she bought it for.
Okay,
well, it's taxed on, people always think that it's half the SEV or half of the
Right.
purchase price, and that's not necessarily the case. You know, the assessing has a whole different thing. So the building had a higher taxable value, or I'm sorry, a higher SEV than what you were collecting taxes on, because your taxes are capped at how much they can increase year over year. So until the property is sold, you don't actually bring the property online
Right.
for what the current taxable value of the building is. It's capped by the anchor date where somebody bought it, and the incremental increases that are allowed by
Right.
law. So you're already received, Laingsburg's already receiving more for that building than it ever has in the past.
Because the anchor date was a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how long the class had.
1973.
Yeah.
That increases, it's not quite double, but it's significant.
mhm.
Is there a dollar amount that you have in front of you that you know what that is? All of you that are
In
voting,
terms of what?
But we're abating.
of what that amount is,
How much
I
are
don't-
we paying?
What you're foregoing.
what you're foregoing,
Yes.
one, and
And I
what
don't-
their increased is. And then what the foregoing would be at 12 years, 5 years, 3 years,
And
whatever.
I don't know that we'll know that until the project's complete and the value can be put in.
Right,
Am I correct in that?
yeah, well,
Statement?
yeah, we won't know until it's done.
Until it's done. I mean, we can make an estimate that, hey, it's gonna be worth $1 million and taxes would be this on that, I mean, on that amount, but.
Well, if you know what the building is gonna be, I mean, there's a grant involved, correct?
Yes,
And that's a dollar amount that's out there,
yes,
and then she has to put in,
I have to match that.
she has to match that.
Mhm.
We kind of know a figure, don't we?
we know how much the investment's gonna be, but when they go through and they appraise this facility, they're gonna have to compare it to another 7,000 square foot multi-use facility, and there's not a whole lot of those, so the investment could easily outpace the end value of the product.
Okay,
That's where the grants come in, so it's really hard to determine. And it's a straw argument, because without the grant, there will be no improvement to tax.
Right.
Also, I see it's the cities, I mean, we're trying to encourage people to put money in our city and we're already gonna get some more than tax because she bought the building. And hopefully other people around it will want to buy some of the other buildings.
And as I explained at the planning meeting, so I use this story sometimes. So 7-Eleven was founded in, it's either Houston or Dallas. And there's a corner where they were founded. And there's 3 7-Elevens on the same corner. And one of the 7-Elevens outperforms the other two threefold. And it was because at the time of the study, it was on a right-hand turn on the way out of town. It was when they were doing big gulps and people got, hot dogs. It was before this coffee phase of today. But it's one of those examples of how important the location is. So her location being just that one block down the street, now think about, so people have to drop their kids off for 45 minutes or an hour. Now they go over to Twigs, maybe they stop by Bates Scout Park and they, frequent the concert a little bit more. That one block makes a huge difference in how this economic activity could be harnessed by the city. I think the overflow benefit by that block versus where it currently is, and freeing up some of the traffic space or the parking space in the current location, I think it's gonna benefit that too for another user, because we all know it's really tough.
God, I hope
When
so.
everybody's, when everybody's
Sorry, Jen,
getting.
I'm just picking on you. We live right upstairs there, so we,
So you wouldn't think one block would make a difference, but it's significant. anywhere we go, you know, one block can be huge. And I think for this type of use, for the kind of facility it is, with that particular location being, you know, the click ornament of downtown, I think this block, it's really significant for what this can do for the city.
Is this time for public comment then?
And we're in the middle of public comment. Yeah, no, that's,
So
yes.
I want to at least speak to, and I premise this by Jen's been my buddy, my tenant, raised my kids for the last 25 years. Okay, so what I'm hearing is, Sean eloquently puts it, the tax base could potentially go up. I've put more than $1 million into downtown Laingsburg. My own money, no grant money. All I get is 2 vacant buildings, of which my tax could potentially go up. It's my opinion that when you have empowerment zones, tax abatements, it's for creating something new. Jen's moving down the block. She's not creating anything new. So, you know, and good for her. It fits her better. The business is growing and so on. She may add an employee or whatever her business plan. I haven't seen the grant. I have nothing. But this is what I get out of it. Okay, so I get her to get a grant, her to get a tax abatement in order to move away from. And I get just potentially more taxes than 2 empty buildings. That's what I get out.
So you said there was, what do you call it, the NEZ zone or N?
Yeah, that's in a different area. I don't think you fall into the census tract here.
Okay.
But there's different grant programs that work everywhere. John and I are very good friends too. And I sympathize with this and, you know,
We talked about it.
I'm also a landlord, so I get both sides of the conversation on this. But this is a business. There's not a whole lot of businesses that have an opportunity to grow in this environment, in this economy, and in the limitations that come with a small town.
But the pressure of which this abatement, as Sean also put, could stop the financing. And that, you know, I get it, Jen and Ernie, I'm sure Ernie's checkbook as well are putting, you know, their own money into this and they're putting certain amount on the line, but it also stops, you know, and I'm not sure I like the position of which, if you don't, the dance studio doesn't get the financing. And again, I didn't ever ask for $1. I've had maybe one paint $5,000 grant from the city. Everything else,
Here's another idea. Let's say you decide to sell your business. And someone else wants to come in the picture and they want to fix it up.
You're talking
Well,
to him, I think.
him for his building, right? 'Cause you-
you're acting like my
John,
building's
well,
being fixed up.
Yeah, I mean, what if you were to sell it or try to sell it and somebody needed money to fix up to do something, whatever they want to do in it? And so I feel that, I mean, it's kind of hampering to say, hey, don't want to do tax abatement for people wanting to have businesses here.
Well,
I mean,
I at least need to express my opinion of which I find this a little unfair that I get to continue paying taxes, potentially higher taxes, and I have no tenants. And you guys are acting as if they're fixing it up or selling it. It's all that easy. You sell it to somebody, a vacant building, you're more often able to sell something that's occupied than you are that's vacant. So it puts me in a business position of which after 27 or 8 years of investing, and again, I say this very conflicted because I think what they want to do, but I think that you should at least look at the reality of what you're flipping the script. You're kicking the can down and you're gonna have 2 vacant buildings. So you fix up one, you get 2 other ones that are gonna be vacant.
And your increased revenue is based only on the purchase price, correct? And we don't know what that is apparently.
No, we know what the
We
purchase
know that
price
part,
is.
Okay.
We don't know
the
what the-
taxes. Why can't we figure that out?
We did.
Do you have the current taxes in front of you? I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up.
I don't know why that would be difficult at all.
Yeah, let's.
And the investments-
What we don't know is we don't know what the appraised value is gonna be when it's done.
Okay.
And we can
we're putting-
estimate it.
We're putting
Yeah.
650 grand in,
Yeah, I get it. Mhm.
and if we're already put 200, that's 850.
Yep,
And then if she's supposed to be matching that,
Mhm.
that's well over $1 million.
Yep.
Now, if we're saying that that building is gonna be worth
about 500,000. maybe
Okay.
6.
500 grand.
Yeah.
Or 600 grand.
Yep.
My car wash, which was built 30 years ago, is today worth 60,000 according to my taxes. And I pay around $4,000. You times that times 10, that's 40 grand.
Right.
Not tough math. And we don't have that figure in front of us, we're voting on it. Makes no sense to me. How can you abate $40,000 for the next 12 years out of the tax revenue and expect anyone who's left here to pay the tax revenue to pick it up?
Yeah, but we're not expecting, we don't have a number we need to meet. We're not,
We don't have any.
It's not
No, no.
it's not a grant though. So you're talking about if the building was built without this abatement, the building wouldn't be built without this abatement because that amount of taxes would burden it to the point where it just wouldn't be financial. Jen business is different than other businesses because she provides a service at probably below market rate because it's for a community good. So it has a cap on how much it can pay. So her monthly outgoing can only be so high to keep the banks involved. So if we were to increase that by $3,500 a month on taxes, then we just wouldn't be wasting our time here because the project just wouldn't move forward and we wouldn't have this facility in town. So it's not, you aren't.
we're not, it's not like we're
$40,000.
losing that $40,000.
Yeah, it's not coming out of
We're
the
not,
coffers.
we're not getting them, yeah.
If you're not collecting it, how is it not
I'm sorry,
being not collected?
it's not coming out of the coffers. They're not writing a check back. They're just not receiving a check that they would get for a fictitious building that would never be built without the grants. Or without the abatement.
We've done an abatement before. Were you opposed to that one?
I think Jim Franklin did this thing with some Texas.
Isn't that still an abatement right now?
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
He also brought new business into town. It
I
didn't
know.
exist before.
I think she is too,
So,
because
yeah,
it's saying
we're
that
also
they're,
gonna have an event
Well-
space and, rental space, so it is something that we don't have right downtown.
and I think they are, I think it was a 30% increase. She feels like that is student wise, like she has more spaces to have more classes. So I do feel like there's more kids gonna be coming into town too.
Which means families that are coming here to eat and, exercise and.
Plus she's
they
got
have
an
a
event
fitness instructor.
area that she can have events.
I understand business.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah, you do.
I want, absolutely not against.
Not want Jen to move.
Yes, exactly. I don't care if she moves or whatever and increase her business. Absolutely, I want her to increase it and make it better than it's ever been. More people come, all of that.
But does the guy with the vacant buildings get an abatement?
Or
Do I
does
get to come in here and
the
say,
guy that's
hey,
been paying for.
I'm hurting right now and I paid whatever tens of thousands of dollars a year and I can't pay on those two buildings. And to Marcy's point, at what point do you just let it go and turn into the Sings building that's been sitting there?
I'm. All right, both, I'm following, but I'm not, I mean, I'm in the same position as you.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a number of buildings, some of which are empty, that we're paying taxes on. We're the same deal, right? I'm looking at it a little different, and then I'm hoping Jen's project brings more business, more traffic, more everything into town. And yes, it's gonna raise, it's only gonna raise the value of other properties if it does those things. Does that make sense?
I understand, so let me
Yeah.
say this, and again, being on the DDA
Yeah.
for 21 years,
Yeah.
been around here
Yeah.
forever, not this administration, so
Yep.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
not point. But the city has bought an off tax roll one after another, and I can name them from the grain elevator to the storage units to the house right here to, and then there's a plan, oh, we're gonna get it, and then the taxes just stop. So what does that do to the people? What does that do to the budget and the pressure of which operating the city's budget and not collecting taxes?
But this is,
Other than raise it to those that do?
but this is different. We're not losing taxes. We're not,
They're kissing cousins. They're
no,
close.
I don't think so at all.
Also,
It's not like we have $100,000 tax revenue, and if we do Jen's tax abatement, we're gonna be down to $80,000. Like those projects you talked about, the house, the grain elevator, we were collecting taxes for those. Bought that property, and those taxes went away. right? Just went away, right? What we're talking about with this tax abatement is we're at $100,000. Yeah, we're not gonna go to $140,000 a year, but it doesn't sound like, and I mean, take this the right way,
Still sacrifice.
salesman, right? We're not gonna do it if you don't do this, right? Sounds like a sales tactic a bit to me, but if that's true, we're still not gonna get that $40,000.
But she's gonna get higher taxes immediately, right? I mean, because it's already based on what
Yeah,
she bought the building for.
Right, her taxes
I
were here,
understand that.
she bought the building and it went to here,
But we don't know what the
Because of
figure is
proposal letter.
out there
because we don't, I mean.
12 years from now.
What you did was probably as close as we're gonna get, right? Because we don't know what it's gonna appraise for.
So this is.
You don't know the military.
So
12 years from now.
2017
Right.
was the last year of the NEZ benefit for that building. And then you see that the current year, it's up to 18,000. For this year, I think it went up to 19,500.
And I would think that the taxes going up on other buildings isn't gonna be because Jen built this nice
Yes, it
upgraded.
will.
Sure. it will.
Yes, it will.
Sean
You
even
just
said it.
increased
Why?
it.
Why?
Wrong.
Well, we're going around it.
Why?
But
Your cap.
it's like, if you don't sell it,
I
your
understand
taxes,
your cap. I get
yeah,
that.
your taxes will be capped, but when you go to resell it, so either two things happen. Either your taxes don't go up or the value of your building goes up. So if you go to sell it, you have a building that's more valuable. So
There's
those
a lot
are
of
the
two
two
things there. You said correctly.
Okay.
Taxes will go up. They won't not go up. They will go up.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But
so
they're going up anyways, and you're
Correct.
capped every year on how much your taxes can go up based on your previous year.
Correct.
let me
So,
finish.
so as long as you own it, you know how much your taxes are going up next year, regardless of what the SEB does. If you go to sell it and it's worth more money, then it's a higher asset for you for your net worth statement. So the two scenarios is if she increases the property value, you benefit because you're a property owner, and if she doesn't, it doesn't affect you.
Well, it's, yes and no, because if you're adding the new tax value on that, that is part of the purchase price that's gonna be negotiated. If the taxes go from, on a building that I own, they go from $5,000 a year to $15,000 a year, then it's gonna be equated in the offer on the selling of the building. I mean, that kind of goes both ways. I mean.
Let me finish my thought from a bit ago, right? Jen, they upgrade this building, they make it nice, they make it a great building, right? Does nothing else with it, it just sits there. I know, wouldn't do that. Is her doing that gonna mean all our other buildings are gonna go up in value and gonna pay more taxes? No, it's because she's gonna bring additional people into town and make things better in Laingsburg. That's what's gonna make property values up. And that's gonna benefit everybody. Am I wrong?
I go back to my original point. You're shifting one vacancy to another. So I find that hard to, I find that hard to say that you can't predict the future of what happens to my
Again, we
building
just lost a tenant
sitting.
ourselves, so.
I lost a tenant under what is seemingly a bit of a competitive edge on her part. She did the hustling, it makes sense, and again, I premise this on the development side, but I'm losing a tenant because there's a lot of funding that's being acquired to do so. It's not private funds. I have no problem competing with somebody developing privately. It's harder to compete when you have $650,000 worth of abatement, tax money, call it what you want, but that puts me at under, not in a good competitive edge. I mean, that's simple.
So your building, what are you renting for a month? Can I ask you that?
No,
Well, I'm just kind of curious on that because, I've heard in the past from all, in the way past. Well, I wish I could have business downtown Laingsburg, but I can't afford to rent.
well, you know what's funny, Marcy? Mine are the cheapest ones, and we just rented an apartment with 22 replies in 3 hours. I keep people around here, and Jen will contest to that. I have never been that high in rent. Ever. We've kept people around. I've got 27 years, 21, 14. I've got residents that are 7, 8, 9 years. Nobody moves because I keep it so that they don't want to move.
Well, then somebody else might want to go into the space.
Well, let's hope so, right? That's, again,
So,
again.
and we, the 600,000,
I gotta say.
so, so I don't throw around zeros, like, I was dirt poor growing up, so I mean, it still sounds as big to me as it sounds to you guys. The $600,000 was something that the state of Michigan set up for businesses that were uniquely challenged by not being able to be in person during the COVID period. But there also had to be something to the business that added to the social fabric of the community, that served the public good. So if you think about her business and what they provide, I mean, what would these kids be doing if they weren't, dancing and staying active and doing that? And now this opportunity can increase that to another 100 families a year. And the people that come, if you think about the demographic of our students, they're good families, these are people that are investing in their kids and spending extra time. So they're the kind of people that we do want coming through town, the people that we want to be eating next to in the diners, and we want at the music festivals, and, they're families that are investing in their kids, which are, kind of what the cultural fabric is of our community too. So those are the arguments we made to get the incentives for this. And the number's so high because she needs a big facility, and it's $1 per square foot thing.
So John, you keep mentioning $600,000. This body
I know,
is only talking about, is only talking about
The
$400,000 total, right? $30,000 a year. The 600,000 has nothing to do with us.
I know, but you asked about Marcy asked about renting it and the competitive edge. I'm just saying, if you're going to redevelop a building and you have 650,000 to start,
Oh,
I
get it.
where, as opposed to me, where I don't have any of that. It's my own money, and we continue to reinvest time after time. Built a brand new apartment, one of them last year, painted them. I mean, there's always,
And what's stopping you
private
from
money.
coming in and applying for a tax abatement?
because I'm not a business, I'm a landlord. They don't give the landlords tax abatements. It'd be real rare. I'm not redeveloping a new building. I already put the private money into all the buildings. I need to buy just things building or something. I mean,
Just so you know, there is a program right now that's specifically for apartments and communities like ours called the Missing Middle. It's to aim for middle income people, and you get $35,000 upfront per unit that you create. So
Is
Oh,
there a lot of
they're-
restrictions?
I don't need it. I've already put my.
I know, but I'm just saying,
I just
call
put
me, I'll help you.
$35,000 into that apartment across the alley.
Let's get an opportunity for the building out.
But,
I want to see the
but
city get
again,
invested.
my rent in about 10 seconds. That's not my issue. My issue is, I might have to look for an abatement because now I gotta do a build up potentially for new tenants, and where does that money come from? If somebody wants an office, you gotta convert a dance studio into an office.
I just want to ask a question. Do you feel like that when you get to a point and you want to sell your building, that Laingsburg having an abatement system might entice someone to buy your building now?
I guess I never had anybody look at my buildings and that they needed to reconstruct it the way mine have already been done. So I don't know as if that, I mean, again, not to belabor the point, but might have been done with private funds. So, the only thing that I'm gonna be facing is 2 empty shells that were a dance studio. What do you turn them into? And that's probably gonna take some funding. Because I don't think
Can we look
Jen
for
or Ernie, or
Greenfield
there's gonna be
Town Hall?
another dance studio that comes into town. I just. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I can
If you know Spirit
I
Express.
feel like she's
you now
outgrown,
compete with
and I'm
them.
glad she's wanted to stay here.
I-
So-
Again, I
Absolutely.
premise all this from my business head and at least saying my piece here and the love I have for Jen and what she's done for my family.
And just so you know,
Mutually exclusive.
so the MEDC has been like really super helpful in walking Jen through this process, so we can call upon them. So, John, if somebody comes, looks at your building, we'll call them and say, hey, what's available? Here's what they want to do with it. We want people cleaning up.
I haven't crossed that. I mean, here I am talking about the tax abatement and you guys are gonna vote and I'm not gonna begrudge it no matter what happens, but I thought that I needed to say something.
Yeah, you still got a right to come and
Oh,
voice your opinion.
absolutely.
Because-
Yeah, it made me
Because I
think
want
more.
you to understand. There's gonna be a vacancy, and I hope I fill them, but you know. Who knows?
So when you, back to what, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Sean.
Sean, back to what Sean said, and you don't have to go to him. Gail can put you in touch with MEDC. Kim can put you in touch with MEDC to help. I mean, I'm just saying,
County has a ton
County.
of funds right
I
yeah,
understand,
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
That comes with a tenant like Jen that says, okay, now I wanna do this, I mean,
Yeah.
it's cart before the horse, you don't just get an MEDC unless you're creating something, right? I
Well, I
mean,
agree.
that,
Yeah.
there has to be some creation, my hope is that the premise of there's gonna be continued growth happens. And it may, but it may not for an extended period of time while I pay the taxes
Mhm.
and I have no rental income. I mean, that's ultimately all I have to say about it. It's that I'm in a spot and I at least wanted to speak to the council and say, you know, yes, it's a good idea, but you need to understand the other half of this.
And I heard in, I think, the planning meeting about the other taxes, didn't necessarily think of you, but thought of, oh, the place right next to it, Rose Villa, right? Because they're gonna be the most affected probably. But it's like, okay, hopefully, you know, I would think that by doing what they're doing is, yeah, it's gonna raise the value of everything in Laingsburg, but to me, that's a good thing. Because it's gonna mean people wanna go here, wanna do things. It's gonna help all of us out, right? Hopefully, it eliminates all those vacant buildings. I mean, I get it. There's hope there. There is, right? But we've owned buildings in town for 10, 12 years, not as long as you have. But we always have a vacancy, right? And we aren't charging, I mean, we're twisting arms to get what we're getting for rent, right? So, I mean. So. All right. Where do we go from here? Well, yeah, so.
We have to decide which,
Approve it.
we have to decide which.
Well, you know, I'm looking at the applicants creating 5 to 10 permanent jobs, so we got more jobs coming here too, so that's plus.
But to Mark's point, what is that? That doesn't provide us the city income. It provides traffic in town.
Right.
And I'm not disagreeing, it's a good thing, right?
Right.
I'm just saying. So we are talking about, Mark, would you agree, $40,000 a year? Taxes that we are not gonna be pulling in?
I have.
I know, I get it, I
I
get
don't
it.
know how your tax assessor couldn't give you a rough estimate about what it might be.
Well, is it possible to find, because we just got a new FTV, we just got a letter about it. Is that?
I mean, because you invest that much money in
You're
something,
gonna-
doesn't mean that it will be correct.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that.
Yeah, that's not what
that
assessing, people think assessing always works.
it
that
will
way.
come out to that. Now, if you purchase it for that, then you don't have an argument.
No,
She didn't
right.
purchase it for $1 million.
Right.
She purchased it for a couple $100,000.
right.
So
Right.
her basis is based on that purchase only.
And that building was built in either 1870 or 1880. It's 100
Well,
years old.
On this paperwork, the taxable value excluding land $65,100. What's shown on the paperwork.
Right.
And my car wash is basically 64,000, it's 65 grand, or a little under that. So it's about the same. I mean, it's about the same.
Yeah.
And the taxes are around
Well, no,
$4 grand,
what,
120,000.
right, is what you think, I thought you said earlier, your value of your car wash was 65.
No, it went up another.
I must have misheard. I mean,
Yeah.
So,
Based on what she's saying.
yeah,
The
right.
SED.
But I don't know how that you couldn't do some reasonably easy math to at least, I think that you need to be well informed about the amount of money that will be lost here. Okay, not, I don't wanna call it lost, because it's not lost.
It's not gonna be
It's
gained.
still, but there's a number out there
Mhm.
that someone should be able to tell you approximately within a few $1,000 Because you're talking a pretty big number.
I would guess it's 300,000. I would guess it's about $25,000 a year over 12 years.
It can't be 3 times what any other building in town is. And we know what John's, I mean, he knows what his building is. It can't be 3 or 4 times that, because there's no way that the base will let that happen. That's why there's a base,
No, but
and then you can have a $1 million building in the ghetto, but that doesn't make the $1 million building worth $1 million bucks.
right. So, but when you have an open building permit, they come through and assess it when the permit's closed with a certificate of occupancy.
Correct.
Right now, that building would, in most other municipalities, it would be an OPRA, which is absolutely Property Rehabilitation Act. Because it doesn't have a functioning, and there's a heating and cooling system in it, but not really anything adequate for more than a warehouse space.
Right.
So it wasn't being used the way it was being built. This is the highest best use of the facility. The windows are obsolete. It doesn't meet energy code. Parts of the foundation are failing in the back. Yeah, so all of those things make the 65,000 more the potential value of the building than the actual value of the building. I could argue the building had no value, because just to make it up to a usable amount, you'd have to put in more than what it was worth. And sometimes those arguments are made.
I would agree with that.
So,
Which she's already done.
So what we're saying is that for the next, if we do 12 years, for the next 12 years, we're looking at the city
foregoing.
foregoing, yes, $30,000 a year.
Is that 20?
25 or 30, okay, ballpark. And that's a guess. I mean, that's a guesstimate.
We're on the low end.
I'd say it's fair.
But
I
at
mean,
20,
just-
yeah. Mhm.
But at least there's a number there that you can, you're just throwing dirt at the dartboard without a figure in your head about how much money there is. And I don't think that, just a personal opinion, that you should do that, in my opinion.
I think the only reason they were approaching it that way is because the hypothetical doesn't exist. The building, without the abatement, there wouldn't be any building to tax to that rate. And I think that's.
Okay, but based on that, you could make a better decision.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion. That's.
I agree with him. You guys should know how much the value
Yeah.
of foregoing.
Don't have any problem.
But the beauty of that is, year 13, you got $30,000 where 5 used to be.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I don't see that my car wash is gonna go up in value. It will go up in value, because it just did $9 grand, and that was based on inflation. It wasn't based on anybody building or doing anything. There hasn't been a building built here
Right.
since my car wash was built. That was 30 years ago. And that was the only building that was built here 54 years before that, and the same with the Stexley building. But those 2 buildings, mine, has been paying taxes for the last 30 years, over $100,000 in taxes over the last 30 years.
I'll still be paying taxes.
I understand.
And the nice thing is like,
And I'm not against, I swear to God.
All right, so, all right.
they're
So,
we're
we're looking
looking to
at-
drop the kids off, so you gotta think a few of them are gonna wash their.
20,
Exactly.
yeah, $20,000 to $30,000 a year is what we're gonna forego for revenue for the city. When we're calculating, okay?
So I have a question.
Yep.
So on page 22, no matter which one of these options, I mean, obviously we rejected it, but if we approve for 12 years or approve for lesser with a up, we can do it again. Will there be an annual reporting requirement that they have to do? Is that what you guys are reading? Like there's some kind of an agreement that basically,
Oh, this is a.
Yeah, that's what we did on the other one they did.
so every year, like, because like these things, projected incomes up and the construction things and permanent jobs, is that something that we revisit? Even if we pick either one of those approaches, is that? Did
Well, I
anybody else
think-
read it that way or not?
Yeah, and I think what was happening, if I remember correctly before with the other one, was there was like guidelines set for what. The person that did that for the building said, this is what I'm gonna do here. And had certain guidelines of meeting annually like that.
So for instance, the next page, there was some suggestions of some things that we might consider as considerations And like one of them's obviously if she didn't pay her property taxes, then that would be a problem. If there was some kind of an ordinance violation, there were certain things, is that guys' opinion, is that we
Yeah.
would be looking at those things?
Well, especially if you're gonna put, you know, if you're gonna pick the one where she's gonna have to.
But if we pick the 12 years, then it isn't. Is that what you're thinking? Because that's where I was a little confused.
Well, I think it's still gonna be a, annual reporting. But if you decide what you want to put in, you know, if you wanna come back in 5 years, say, and you decide what you get to look at and expect out of her.
What is the reason that the 12-year mark is there?
That's what she's,
Okay,
this is what she's available
So-
for. They have a calculation
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
certain criteria,
Okay.
right? And
And
it's
the 12
actually,
years
it's
is what works
actually,
out.
It's actually.
it's actually
It's
13.
actually goes up, can go up to 13.
Right,
She
but
only
she-
qualifies for 12.
Right.
Okay.
I would suggest for your safety, you're taking this leap because it's something big, it's not
Well,
just a.
yeah.
So you can put in there that on a minimum of $1 million investment, because that's how much we have to spend to make this. We'll be happy to show you the receipts on it.
So here's another outcome that could happen, Jen, is we don't approve this abatement. Jen says, fine, I need more room. I'm gonna go to Perry. We end up with an empty space yours, we end up with the Klotz building empty. I mean, that's the other side to it that could very, so.
Again, I'm not.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
okay. So what other discussion do we have from the council? Getting a lot from out there. What do you guys think? Sorry, putting you on the spot.
Well, I like his idea of putting some kind of a investment. If we're gonna abate that much money, that there is some kind of a criteria that they're gonna invest. If they're comfortable with $1 million, then
$1 million in with the grant, not $1 million. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. The grant in my mind has nothing to do with this discussion.
Full investment, including the building purchase, that would be 200 plus the project's gonna be a minimum of 800. Looks like more like $1 million, but there's gonna be $1 million that they.
so
Have
you
out
talking
there
about
for
$1 million
this.
on top of the value of what they, like, I thought they purchased the building and then.
I'm just saying, they're gonna put at least 800,000 into it, so it's $1 million investment. The 600,000 is half of what we spend. We may spend up to $1.2 million. We're trying not to. We're trying to, keep this thing safe. So
You may end up at $1.4 million.
we.
Sorry.
might- we might, but I'm pretty good at making sure that doesn't. I know for certain, there's no scenario where we don't spend at least 800,000. And it's looking like $1 million in addition to the purchase of the building. So it will be at least $1 million building plus improvement, probably $1.2 million. But that last 200,000 just depends on how good I am. I'm decent.
Dance class costs reasonable for the families that live
Right.
here in Laingsburg. We are not in New York City or LA. We're trying to make this reasonable because it matters.
Right.
It mattered in my life growing up and in John's kids' life.
Affordable till you bought all the outfits.
That's true.
Okay, so let's start with, what do people think about approving for 12 years or approving for some shorter time? And then having it go back to be I don't know if it's reapproved, but it's extended, right?
If we do that, you said the banks would not look highly on it.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't want, I mean, if we're gonna approve something, I don't want to deter
Yeah.
the banks from camping.
I agree with that. And I share that concern that you brought up. I think it's a
It's
very
real,
valid
it's a
concern.
really tough.
I would be leaning towards 12 years with a
Mhm.
$1 million, approving the applicant for the maximum like 12 years with the criteria of $1 million investment. I would make that motion.
What about, I gotta ask another question too. What if? Can she sell it within, and would that abatement go to the next person?
No,
They would cancel that.
that goes back to I forget where it was, but there were a series of things that had to happen in order for the abatement to continue to happen. And small things has to continue to hold it, own it for.
And to Mark's point, so $20,000 for 12 years, which it wouldn't be technically the full 12 years, because the first year they'd be doing construction, so it would still be 5. But at a minimum, $240,000, at a maximum at $360,000 that we're foregoing for 12 years.
Approximately.
Approximately.
Yeah, at least that's
Take
the-
that book,
Yes.
it was-
All right, do you want to make that a
Yeah,
motion?
yeah, I'll make that motion. So
Do we have anything else we want to add to, well, we have a motion. Do we have a second for the motion?
my motion is to approve the applicant for the maximum length of 12 years with the criteria of investing $1 million.
I second that.
Of total investment.
Total investment, including the purchase costs.
Right.
Of the-
Okay, any more discussion?
Is there any of these items on page 23 that we feel like we need to add to that or not? Or do you think they're already in there? I just want to make sure I.
Yeah,
understand
no,
before I
no,
vote.
good question. Good question.
So significant change to the facility, employment reduction. So if there's an employment
Are
reduction.
these rules like already applied to?
That's what I'm asking.
it
Do
is,
you think-
it
do you
is.
think- Do you think these, because it said suggestions, but not limited to,
Well, like if you're, I think,
considerations.
I think you're able to put whatever you want in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are suggestions.
But they're not already in there, right?
Well,
They're just
there's-
suggestions
Right,
of
well,
what we
right.
can do.
They
Yeah,
got
you don't
down, I
have
mean,
to have anything in there.
well,
A failure
Is
to
there-
complete the project on a timely basis. I mean, do we want to put anything in there about time frame, or we're okay?
I mean, all of these seem really great things.
No, I know, that's why I didn't know if it,
because on the application, it shows here what criteria they're gonna be following there in order to get this.
And then once you guys approve it, it has to go to the state.
Where did you find that, Marcy?
It's on that one right there,
Application.
because they have to submit that with their criteria is gonna be
'Cause I
in order
remember,
to be approved for that abatement.
I remember seeing that.
So page 15.
Oh, I flipped it over now.
because it did talk in there about wage level and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm good with, on page 23, taking some of those that just make sense. Wouldn't be too
Onerous.
onerous on you guys, just to protect the city some, right? Like the first one, sale or closure of the facility. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, are you guys aware of what's on these? Like, if we're saying.
We haven't seen them, but you can read them out loud. I mean, they're all good neighbor policies that I'm sure.
Somebody want to do that?
Sure. So number one, and I would also say, I think we should add these into my motion. So number one, sale or closure of the facility and departure of the company from the jurisdiction unless abatement exemption is transferable. Number two, significant change in the use of the facility and or the business activities of the company not consistent with the requirement of the applicable fact for which approved. Number three of 8, significant employment reductions not reflective of the company's normal business cycle and or local and national economic condition. Number 4, failure to achieve the minimum number of net new jobs and wage level as specified in the abatement exemption application. Number 5, failure to complete the project in a timely manner as specified in the approval resolution. Number 6, failure to comply with annual reporting requirements. Number 7, failure to pay annual property taxes on real and personal property not exempt under the improved abatement exemption. And finally, number 8, failure to cooperate with the city of Laingsburg ordinances and policies.
So 4 and 6 are typically what they would use for somebody who's doing for job creation, trying to get money for a manufacturing facility. That I don't see that as being applicable here. There's no, it says in their reporting, a lot of these grants that I see your tax abatements are tied to number of jobs that are being created, and that wasn't part of their pitch. They're gonna create new jobs, so I don't think they put in paper that we're gonna double our staff or anything like that, so. I would take that out just because we would then have to decide what that reporting is. And number 4, I don't know how you want to spell out number 4,
4 was the net number of jobs.
right, and that's.
We will have to hire, I think that's on the application.
Yeah, it is.
We
Okay,
will have
Yeah.
to hire some new teachers.
do you know what the number was, so you can tell them so they can put it in?
I've
It's
got
between 5 and 10, I
We can
think.
just put per application on this.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, I think it does say that. Net new job of wage
Well-
was specified in the abatement exemption
Oh, it did.
application.
It says it
It
right
does
there.
say that.
Okay, I didn't see that part.
So
Yeah.
4 is okay.
You got management professional too, you got skilled 16 to 21.
Are any of these not
So
Good
6,
then.
he said,
6?
because annual, he would, I can see that.
Yeah,
So,
so 1 through.
They all
1
seem
through,
reasonable.
1 through 5 and 7 and 8.
I'm gonna ask a
Yeah.
question. If as part of this, we ask you to come in on a yearly basis and say, hey, here's how we're doing. I don't want specifics, profit loss, but here's how we're doing on what we asked for the tax. abatement. Would you be okay with doing? Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not asking for, are you making money or you're not making, I'm asking for, hey, just
Number of new students,
that type of thing, yeah.
use
yeah.
for all these, so.
Well, and as part of this process, I've been looking at with Emily Morrow from the SBDC,
Mhm.
developing business plans and helping to compare to other markets that are similar to Laingsburg, and we'll be doing it anyway.
And that's what I see from a reporting standpoint. I know it spells out wages and that, I'm thinking more from the city, right? So, okay, so you want to amend your motion?
I amend my motion to include under page 23, 1 through 5 and 7 and 8. Right?
5,
Yes.
But not 6.
Yeah.
Marcy,
Okay.
you still second that?
I second that.
okay, any more discussion? All right, I think we should do a roll call for this one. It's not necessarily money, but it's money.
Miller,
Yes.
Breck,
Yes.
Amman,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Beavers.
Yes.
Isha.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I make motion.
Second.
All right, public hearing for 105 East Grand River is closed. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for 219 West Grand River special assessment? Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of opening public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anybody out here for 219 or anybody online?
Nobody's online.
Okay, any discussion here? This is our friends that we're gonna build, and we're almost to the end of it.
We're almost to the end, so it all begins again, 'cause the summer's here.
All right, so can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion.
Give a second. All right, everybody in favor of closing? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Now can I get a motion to pass resolution 2405
I make a motion.
to make this happen?
I second it.
Okay. Do we need to have any discussion, conversation? Okay, can I get a vote? Do we need a roll call? We don't. All in favor of passing resolution 2405, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, resolution 2405 has been approved. All right, now we have on here our assessor. Would that be you?
Yep.
All right. And I know it was. I mean, I just did it.
Okay. Is anybody here with questions? They'll be here in 2 weeks with questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I included, I don't know if you got the copy of the report that we get from county equalization. It says State Tax Commission analysis of equalization values.
No, I don't think so.
I think
I think it was
did you
emailed
email
to
that
you.
us?
Yeah, she emailed it to you.
Basically what it is the county,
I think.
they'll go on my commercial class, because we usually don't have enough commercial sales. they'll pick a random sample and go out and appraise some properties to see if I'm assessing at 50% market value.
Does everybody know Heidi?
No.
Yeah, Heidi, could you introduce yourself and what your role is?
Heidi Renicky, I'm the city assessor. And then I guess to continue the residential, we had, on this report, we had 42 sales of the 2-year study that they did. And they said that I'm assessing at 44%. We should be at 50. So what that indicates is about a 13.5% increase in our residential class this year based on properties that have sold. And on that commercial sales study that they did, we were about 12.8% increase there. So,
I'll ask questions. if
okay,
everybody else
what's that?
does. Well, I know a lot of people ask, like, the capping and how that works. And everybody's like, oh, my taxes went up so much more than another city's taxes went up.
well, what that is in 1994, or prior to 1994, we used to be assessed at half a market value and you pay taxes on that. And I don't know if you remember, maybe in the 80s and the 90s, there could have been properties, well, like this. We went up 13%. Your taxes would have went up 13% if you were the average home in the city and you went up that much. But there were some going up 20% even. There used to be 200 people come to board of review, wait in line all night long to appeal their assessment because the tax increases were so high. So Debbie Stabenow, when she was, I think, a state rep and John Engler was governor, they came up with Proposal A. When we raised the sales tax, the voters raised the sales tax 2%, and they came up with a cap on property taxes. They could increase 5% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. And so since 1994, we still figure out what is half a market value, that's your SEV. And then there's the cap value, that's your 94 value times the rate of inflation plus new construction minus any losses, like if you a barn burnt down or something. And then whichever is lower, the cap or the SEV is your taxable value. So most people who've owned the property a long time, there's a gap between what is the market value of that property or half that SEV and the taxable value. So that's what capped means. Their taxes are only going up the rate of inflation. This year it was 5%. Last year it was 5% also because the inflation rate was 7%. And the year before that, it was around 3%, 3.1. So it's been pretty huge in the last 3 years, over 13% inflation rate. So that's why people are starting to get a little bit upset and notice it. But if you've noticed too, if you've looked at properties that have sold, market values just out of this world. I have 2 kids looking for homes, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch that used to sell for maybe 150 to 180 is probably around 300,000. Even if it's 20 years old or 25, it's really hard to find a house under 300,000. I think we were looking at one tonight coming to board of review. Someone paid 350,000 for a house. I'll tell you, it's the one with the tall pole barn over there on Shiawassee Street, right? I've got it valued at, what did I tell you? 250. I'm way below what the guy paid for it. And he's coming into it. But that's kind of how the market's been, not just here, but everywhere. The values have gone up. And if you remember too, in 2007, when the market crashed through about 2012, a lot of townships and cities lost 30% of their value. And that did pull down the taxable value too, because the SCV was lower than the cap value formula. So there is a way for taxes to go down when the market crashes again.
Okay.
Yeah, but it could happen. It's been a
I
long
don't wanna
time.
talk about that.
It has been a long time, but then that's why I think you hear people, and really, without Proposal A, they'd be in a worse place.
So did you explain what happens when a house sells? To-
The year following a transfer of ownership, an uncapping occurs. That was part of it.
Right, so you take what would have gone up every year, and that's what the new owner would be paying.
Well, it's based on what they
based on what
paid.
Yeah.
Pay.
What you
What
pay,
you
right,
pay for.
yeah, but.
And the good news for the property owners is we use a 2-year sales study with the county. So I'm pretty much using old sales to set values for 2024. If I was using the last 6 months like an appraiser would do for a mortgage, the values would be even higher, but because the market has been so good.
So I was on the board of review, for a couple of years, and that was the big thing that people kept coming in. I just bought this house and people before were paying this, now I'm paying this, why?
It's because the real estate people don't.
Yeah,
Or
real
up
estate
on
does not tell
telling-
them,
telling
inform them that.
Right, no, I get it, we get it, but that's,
Mortgage companies are just as bad, not, telling people.
Can you think of any other questions that people ask us all the time?
Mainly this is why our taxes so high.
Well, they think
I
that
mean-
the governmental unit gets all that money when.
Yeah.
Like, such things that, yeah, people don't understand that, like, the schools get most of the money, really. So,
okay, anything else, Heidi, any questions, any?
thanks for, come visit me. for the review and- And then I'll talk to you about, we were trying to figure out if it was a replacement or.
Right.
What's the other one? There's two different ways that that's gonna be taxed in the future, but
Yeah, with the improvement on the commercial.
if it's a replacement or.
We'll sit down and figure it out.
Well, what will the value be in 12 years?
We want it to the penny.
My opinion to that was, if she's making that $1 billion investment, it's just like if you would put a new kitchen in your house. The market's not gonna give you dollar for dollar for your investment. So really, we'd be guessing on what is the future value of a property that none of us have seen? And what is the millage rate going to be?
Right.
So it was just gonna be a number out of the air, however we do it.
Frankly, I don't care if it's 20 or 40,000, what she's doing down there is gonna bring that much benefit.
I
to
think
my
so.
part.
You
I mean,
We're very excited.
Yes,
I
we're
am.
super excited. about
Sorry,
it.
we digressed.
know. Okay.
All right,
Well, have a good night.
thank you for coming
We
in.
appreciate your time.
Yep. All right, budget summary, who's gonna go through the budget?
We talked about it in the finance. I mean,
Do we need to-
huh? I feel like based on tonight, unless anybody's got some questions, others. They're working on it. They're getting the numbers in there. They're moving forward.
See them stars we got, fire operating, I think we're talking about doing a whole
Yeah, they're talking
come
about doing
election
it.
time
Yeah.
for
So they,
up that millage, cause
to
it's done
two.
this forever.
so I think they're thinking about putting it up
Yeah.
to 2. See those little asterisks?
Yep.
Mhm.
That's the same as we did from last year for the ambulance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fire millage has been at 1 mil for about 40 years.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we can't sustain that anymore.
Yeah, for what the fire trucks are costing, you know, so
Yeah,
yeah,
how long it takes to
Jeez.
get them in.
yeah. So that right there is gonna be a deciding factor of that too. The vote. A lot of money, let's see what the ambulance costs.
Okay, any questions on the budget? All right, capital improvement projects. Greg, Dave, you guys wanna, Dan, somebody wanna go through some of your projects for the next year or? Go ahead, Dave. I didn't know who to throw on the bus, so I just threw a net. Any,
You
any,
want me to go
Do you
through
want
it? You
this?
got the list?
All right, I'll go through.
well, so any from last year that we're still finishing up, or are we pretty much?
Yes, I've got a word thing from last year's that I'm still working on to finish up.
Okay.
And then we've got added on the Miss Jury and I have been, it's like, been working on
Okay.
for next year, so.
I think mine are pretty much out, just that I'm looking at, we're gonna have to replace at some point AEDs.
These are just.
And once the patrol car is no longer viable according to the feds, but I can still buy a battery from Amazon. They still work, so whether the FDA comes in and says those aren't approved, they're still gonna shock somebody, so.
How many of those do we have?
One for each patrol car.
That's what I thought, okay. It seemed like we got those that long ago. didn't we?
Oh, yeah, they've been here for
Okay, I'm confused.
ages.
I'm confusing them with something else, so, yeah.
I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense to read this when everybody can.
Yeah,
see
no, I
it.
get it.
Right.
Yeah,
I was,
Just-
yeah.
No, I know like Grand
Yeah.
River's coming, so that's gonna, do we have a date on Grand River at all?
I have not got a date yet. I know today we did the tree trimming on our portion of it, so. As soon as Brad has an actual date of when they're gonna start trimming, they'll let me know.
Right. Did, Looking Glass Terrace, did we move that up? I know they talked about when we're fixing the roads and stuff that we can look into. Did we
That,
get into that any further?
no, and we still don't know how we're gonna do that. We've got.
Cause they gotta figure out how to build too. how to pay.
Right.
Correct, and we sat down and worked on our stuff for the next year with our remaining monies, and we've got some stuff to do that'll bid out next year. Not this summer, but the following summer, that'll include like Grant Street, and Treat Street, and some type of a seal issue for Grand River, so we don't keep losing that from Woodall, the city limits that one, so.
So a question on something you guys talked about, Grand River, is that from the stop sign east? Is that what you're talking about?
All the way to Morris Road.
All the way to Morris Road? We're not paying for it. It's
No,
county.
Just us and-
And actually, you answered my question. We just came down it and it was really bad.
Yeah.
Gales.
I don't know why they haven't
Patched it.
patched yet. We
Right.
did our section. the other day. Well.
In like 3 months.
Their holes are in the driveway.
so basically where the American Legion is coming this way is what
Right,
we're
yeah.
paying for.
Yeah,
Right,
from
yes.
from the city property.
But the way he said it,
Yeah,
all the way to
I
Morris.
got
Road.
you. Get your wallet out.
Yeah. Okay. So one question I'm gonna put in here. Dean. Down at the bottom of the.
Redstone.
Ridgedale brought up brought up the sidewalks in front of their house. Or their business, excuse me, have never been done. Was he telling me
They have been done.
they have been done? Okay.
They
these-
were done. And I am meeting with a couple contractors to get them looked at, because I was asked to do it in the DDA.
Yep,
The
But they
DDA,
were done in, 25 years ago when I started here. Cause we tore them when we originally started putting the lights in.
Yep.
We were removing the sidewalks, laying the conduit and putting new sidewalk down.
okay,
So they were one of the first ones that got done. So it's been 25 years, but yes, they were done at one point.
but I think he was thinking when we did the other, we alternated the brick look in the. Not,
Correct. That's
Yeah.
because when we first did that, the brick thing wasn't an issue. It wasn't even on the agenda. And then the next year, they thought they tried the stamp thing when I been trying to talk them into getting away from that because it's when it starts to shale, it looks bad. And when we try to seal it, it makes it really slippery for the women.
Yeah, it's very slippery out in front of the bars.
Dean had mentioned something. And I said,
But yes, at the last DDA meeting, they asked me to meet with some contractors, get prices for.
Okay,
yeah, because they would like to take care of the sidewalks that need to be repaired in the
Yeah.
DDA district, so that would include them.
I'm guessing it's a good time because they're gonna probably be
right,
moving in and.
we just have them pay.
Thanks.
Sorry.
We're trying to get you to.
Too soon?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, anything else on or on the capital improvement? Any other questions, any other things that you guys aren't on here that you think should be? I'm gonna add another one, speaking of them. One of the things we talked about in the planning meeting was the sidewalk and we're not gonna have enough information. We're not gonna be able to do this tonight, just to get it on everybody's radar. A sidewalk from Roosevelt Row to their back door. It will cross some of the city's property, some of Rose Villa's property, and then onto their property. The idea is that the drop-off zone could be on Roseville or not, on Roosevelt Row, right? And the kids could walk down that sidewalk. They are looking for assistance from the city in doing that sidewalk. We don't know what that is. We don't know if we're actually gonna end up doing it, that type of thing. I'm just getting it out there so people know.
Their entrance is on the rear of the building for the dance studio as well. The normal front entrances is where the dance studio will be. So people will not be walking in there.
Will
Some-
it be like the alley behind our buildings up here one way, you come in Roosevelt and go out, and like, is that a two-way?
It's two-way now. We talked about it at the meeting. I looked at it more after that. If we were to make that one way, it does look like traffic wise, it would make a lot more sense, and it would allow for angled parking on the west side, which would increase the number of parking spaces substantially, probably 6 or 7 more. There's enough width to do one-way parking and angled, but there's not enough width to do two-way parking. So,
And for me,
I mean, it would be more of a Dan question, but I foresee traffic issues if people can go either way on that path and they're all getting dropped off at the dance studio.
If we do parallel on each side, it'd have to be a one-way. There's not enough room to have two-way traffic. You need 24 feet and it's not gonna accommodate that.
Couldn't you envision a one-way on that being
Correct.
helpful once a dance studio's in there because you don't want them.
Correct, I looked at it too after
And
that
Grand River.
meeting, and so if it was a one-way, and I'm thinking the one-way would be come off
Grand
Grand
River.
River, go towards,
Clinton.
McClintock. so.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that, I mean, because currently the angles go the other way, right?
No, you come off Grand River, the angle goes
Okay,
towards
Accommodating
McClintock.
to Grand River. So.
okay,
well, and for us, it's also a huge part of this is about safety for kids, because right now we have kids running across that
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
And it is scary at night.
And when I was talking to the county building inspector, he was leaning in on the ADA parking spaces, but he also said the closest spaces were behind Twilligers, but there's 2 spaces right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
on the east side of Roosevelt.
Yeah.
He likes a lot of them.
More on the west side of Roosevelt.
yeah, so there's 2 right there.
Parking there and.
It'd be matched up with the.
There's
curb
also
lanes that
2
are
right
there.
next to connections. The connection to.
But when we do, if we make this connected, if we make the connecting sidewalk, it would probably be a good opportunity to shave down the curb and make it ADA compliant from the Roosevelt level deck up to the new sidewalk. The curb's only about 3.5 inches right there. It wouldn't be allowed.
so from a capital improvement plan, I just wanted to bring that up, because that's something that we've been talking about moving forward.
And it doesn't have to cross Rosemary's property. She has an
Doesn't it?
easement.
Okay,
She has an easement to get to her property across Ernie and Jen, but it wouldn't, we wouldn't even cross the easement that's accommodated to her with the sidewalk. So
Okay.
it wouldn't be on her property at all.
okay. She was okay with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yes,
We just, I'm saying, one less person to
yep,
make a decision.
yep, exactly. I was hoping to get her to do it. Kidding, it was a joke. All right, next, anything else on the capital improvement plan? All right. Approval or denial of zoning ordinance amendments and resolution. Is this a Olivia thing?
No, these are the ordinances that the planning commission looked at changing and suggested.
Got it.
zoning. And it kind of breaks down what. what each one of them are.
So one of
Yeah,
the
we
things,
have it, but it's not spelled out like it's supposed to be, so that's kind of a change and. The front door thing we didn't have, which we should have. And then we changed, to add townhouses to. The housing diversity language didn't have townhouses in it, so.
And I was in that meeting, but now I'm kind of confused.
yeah. I'm-
So the
I'm-
to be added, the front facing doorway specifically, we're talking,
Yeah,
we
her.
just talked about hers, how they don't have a front facing doorway.
But it's,
This is
it's
not in
not-
place yet.
yeah, well, she doesn't apply because it's not in, she's getting
These
approved.
are all RRC certification requirements.
Yes, and the front door thing, she still has a front door. Window and. Use, she still can use that. And she would, if this was going into effect before this was applied, she would be the exception because it's.
Yes.
This
it's
does say,
grandfathered in.
this does say principal
Principal.
pedestrian, which they won't,
Right.
right? So we talked about it. At this point, if this is not in place, so you're not covered. But if this was in place, you would have to have a variance to do what you're doing for the dance studio. Yeah. for
They
the-
can
not-
apply for a variance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the front door being on the back of the building, but traffic flow wise, it makes more sense. They're just saying that as we apply next month.
They just want, they want the buildings to have front entrances and, for the better of the town at the RRC.
And RRC is where we get some of their grants. And so we're trying to follow their.
Yeah.
rules, for lack of a.
So
better
you're
term.
looking for a motion on it, right? I make a motion on it to approve it.
And these were things that the planning. Even though Randy and I don't really remember it.
That was
Yeah,
another long discussion.
that's right. We.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't,
Right.
I thought we were gonna go, but I wanna make sure that we weren't messing them over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I read it too.
After.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the zoning ordinance?
Marcy didn't.
I did.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right, that's been approved. Special land use 105.
So we discussed this in
Mhm.
planning commission, and this should say 7 AM.
Right. She put it in a little, just a little thing, instead of giving you guys the whole
Sure.
thing, she just put it in a little bit of. So you can just read it and know what you're actually,
Which is a point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know,
Got it.
yeah, we've changed it, it just couldn't be changed once.
So both, yes, I mean, basically, as this is written, they could only operate their business from 7 PM to 10 PM, Sunday through Thursday, 7 PM to midnight, Friday and Saturday.
Is that
But
okay
it
with you?
should say,
3 hours.
it should say 7 AM
7
to midnight and 7 AM to 10 PM.
Okay.
I was wondering about that when I was looking, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
the-
And this is only for the banquet portion of it.
Right.
This does not pertain to the dance studio,
Because this is,
only for the special land use.
this is right, especially.
Is everybody clear on that?
Yeah, that'd be similar to the bar would be too.
Well, it's because, yeah, that's.
I was just, I know.
Yeah, no, but the next one
Ordinance wide.
is a restaurant bar, and you're exactly right, it's the same, so.
I make a motion to approve that
With the
With
changes.
the
with the changes to the 7 AM.
I'll second that.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor of approving the special land use, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the special land use has been approved.
The same applies for the, I'm sorry, I'm jumping. ahead.
Yep, no,
The same applies for the next one for the restaurant of Cinder's.
and your point about the bar, most of it, they're gonna be a restaurant bar, just like. And so this is only for, they wanna be able to be open when the restaurant is not open, be able to host the Bridge Club, and so they can have coffee. Or the Lions Club, if they wanna have a meeting. When the restaurant's closed, this is really what they're looking for.
They will only be open for lunch and dinner, I think is what he
I think
said,
so,
like,
yeah.
I forget. how
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah, and so if we change it to 7 to 10, that's not what they're planning on being.
But it gives them
Gives
freedom,
them-
it also.
Yeah.
Allows,
Aren't you setting your precedents too,
Yes.
for that
Yes, true.
type of use?
True.
that's, yeah, that's why we stayed uniform in those hours between the two.
Okay. Have I got a motion to approve? Special land use,
I make a motion
I'll second.
any more discussion?
with the changes at 7.
Discussion changes, yes. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay. That has been approved. Approval or denial of mural artist. And so. They picked, all right, I have a couple things I'm gonna add in here. We declined to put it on our building, because we didn't feel like we would have any say in what goes up on that building. I'm just saying,
I'm not
I
voicing
am,
my opinion as he is. Just, we're on a different.
So which one did you, are you not?
I'm just
They declined to
saying
have it on there, that was the request of the artist. So.
No.
they wanted to
we
put it on
picked-
next to the
Bonnie.
hair studio, Bonnie and Lucy.
Oh, okay.
And we asked a couple questions, and we're told we couldn't let the artist.
Really?
Yep, so we decided we didn't want to do.
So
Sorry, that's all I'm gonna say about it, that's why we.
my
declined.
question is, why wouldn't you build it if it's your building?
Well, we are required to keep it on there so many years, and I did ask a few questions. One of the questions was the color palette. I wasn't sure the color palette fit with the color that was on the side of the building, so I wanted to know, are we painting, where on the building was it going? And it just got to the point where I felt like I wasn't in love with that mural, and I just felt like somebody else So I was willing to give it to someone else and that somebody else is putting on their side of the thing. I'm not quite as strongly opposed as what Jeff is acting like.
I am,
Yeah,
but I'm done.
I think, we need to put wolves all over everything, a wolf pack around here.
We had one for
I-
years on doing that.
Yeah, I know.
so since they've done it, they have added some stuff to it.
Cause
and I
this
would
kind
be
of
more-
cause
I
that
would
one
be
on
more
here
opposed-
tacky,
So this wasn't on there when we saw it.
right?
Yeah, she's added.
So
Oh,
she
yeah.
added some stuff to it
You wanna
that,
see
We-
colors?
We moved it
See
to
that-
the,
that
Oh, is that, oh, it's in
yeah,
color.
no, it
Yeah.
did print
Well,
color.
I was kind of looking at the wolf one here with whatever was, what's sitting by that, I don't know, but the pictures aren't the
She kind
best.
of added in some
she
things
has
just
added
at the
some stuff
last
because I
minute.
said, I felt like it was more like
Because we
Sleepy
wanted
Hollow and it
to-
wasn't so much about what's going on.
So the other,
Pretty much the town stuff, like the
Right.
carnival.
I mean, I kinda like the train coming through town if we put it on where Centers is at.
so I'm gonna give myself in trouble one more time.
Oh, like,
Sorry, one more time. First line, sorry. Based on the RFP's criteria, city staff chose an applicant. Is that something we want city staff making decisions?
really.
No,
So, I'm just saying.
You
So
agreed
I'm-
to that.
I know, but I didn't agree
Voted
to,
on that.
well, I mean, I thought
You
we had
voted on
something,
that.
I know, but
So be careful what you vote for.
now I see pictures and I think it's gaudy. Sorry,
These
I think it's
These
gaudy.
are just the rough drafts and these are things that she added in afterwards. And you haven't seen all the rest of them, so you have nothing.
Didn't we have something down for like, we wanted to kind of go with the history kind of a Laingsburg?
And that's what she's gonna do. She's
Oh,
gonna add the,
so-
that's what some of the pictures are in there and.
Really?
I'm confused about like the pictures, like the actual photographs. of it.
Because we didn't have time to add stuff that we had talked about to the actual.
We should probably like she's proposing that she would like paint.
we have to be careful about tabling because there is a timeline.
Yes, there is.
I'm sorry.
early March is when she has to.
Well, I'm just-
present it.
Well, I will lose $10,000. I'm not saying we can't table it, Greg, but I'm just saying I think we need to be cautious of it. Because
I need a bigger picture. I mean, this is going.
I'm glad you said it, 'cause
Just
I'm thinking the same thing.
So the other question I had.
I don't know.
was That I would want to get answered is this picture. It looks like they're putting them over, not on brick, but over,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say windows. They're
Yeah.
not windows, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's the plan. I don't know. Right? I just don't know.
She was very, open to. Anything. I'm not sure why she didn't want to talk to you. I don't.
That's what I'm gonna told.
well, I emailed and asked some questions. And she said that I could ask her and then she would talk to the artist. That's what she told me. And I just felt like if I'm gonna put something on my building for a long period of time, I would like to know what it's a little bit more would look like than what I.
You mentioned it looking more Sleepy Hollow, which I agree with that. I think.
Well, we
I
talked
think
to her
if they
about that.
added something to it, because when I saw it, it didn't have the carnival thing, it didn't have the
Right, which
music
is-
thing,
we
it
had-
didn't have, it had totally Sleepy Hollow feel to me.
And then when she came to the office, we talked to her about making it more Laingsburg. That's where the pictures come in with the carnival and we also talked about changing the Sleepy Hollow to a more of the river because we got the grant for the river, so that would have been great on their building. Well, once they moved it from there, it's kind of like, okay, well, Sleepy Hollow is part of Laingsburg. The people from Sleepy Hollow come here. We did have, that's kind of the stuff, that's why it kind of looks messy, is because she added all that stuff in to get it in.
So like maybe the kayaks on Bonnie Lucille with an arrow pointing down.
That's what, that's.
So,
what we
because that's
talked
what the
to her
boat
about.
launch we were, you
Here's
know,
what
looking
I
at.
heard from
I don't know.
Sutcliffe, right, was this is more of a, I'm not saying this is necessarily bad. This is more of an ad for Sleepy Hollow than it is for like.
I don't know where you heard that from, but the only thing that's Sleepy Hollow is that kayak.
I'm just saying, I heard that.
Oh, there's a
Let's just-
walk on the beach
Yeah.
with water,
beach and
there's,
fishing.
there's a
Actually,
campfire. I thought it did look like a Sleepy Hollow.
because
to
that's,
me.
she knows, your tenant, that's who she knows.
Yeah, I know.
And that's who she talked to, and she had been to Sleepy Hollow, so she was trying, that was her first draft coming in.
I mean,
And
I
then
guess
we
it's
talked
could,
to her.
I guess it's could on the wall, maybe down there where the clothesline is area, because there's a tutoring, it's gonna
Yeah.
be tutoring in there, right?
Yeah.
I still like where's our train at? I want our train on the building somewhere here.
That was my, yeah, I was mercy on
I
that.
mean, I was
Because
here
it
back when the
does,
train
it's
comes through town, so.
She was very open to whatever we wanted.
Don't make me throw this old cold candy at you.
Okay,
So sorry, I'm still confused about this. So the pictures of like the carnival. Like she would propose that she would paint
Yeah.
a more artistic,
Yes,
like they're not literally just printing
No.
off pictures and putting them on the building,
No.
right? Okay, thank you.
yes. She did not have time.
Can-
to
I think it's
paint,
because they were
but
talking
yeah.
about it and it was a way
Yeah,
for
she
her
was
to get it on
adding things
paper
in.
and kind of.
Okay.
As Olivia talked to her about the ideas that we had that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
that She doesn't live here.
Sure,
What we had, the ideas of what happens in town.
sure.
So we were adding those
I think the
things.
carnival would be a great
Yeah.
thing to be featured.
I think we need some horses and buggies and part of history.
Is this
That's
the
every
same,
town,
is this
though.
the same
Where it
artist
started.
with all of the bedrooms?
Was there just one artist applicant?
No,
Were there multiple mural,
I think there was 5 total.
like, drafts? Like, were
There were people that did have their,
So you got to
Some
see all 5 of them?
mhm.
Would it be possible for us to see those? Or, no, I don't know.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'd like to see them, I guess, cause. Yeah, I mean,
It's a big decision.
cause you need to have something painted on these buildings that looks gaudy. That's all I worry about, I don't know.
I'm not in love with it.
Cause that's basically what people are just gonna see when they drive by, they're gonna go, what's that? Or, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm in love with the idea of the murals and like,
Yeah.
I've been passionate about it since the beginning of it. And now that it's here, it's like, I hate to pull the trigger on this, with it being the only option, I guess, at this point.
The rest of the murals, none of them had anything to do with Laingsburg.
Oh, you know what we need to have?
None of them, okay,
None of
that's,
them did.
that's. what I
Have
was
some
curious
people
about.
sitting at the campfire with a cooler and some beer, 'cause that's.
What were the other ones about?
a Bud Light.
One of them was specific to a business here in town, so it was just their business, that she did a mural for, one of them was flowers. One of them,
A train. No, I'm kidding. Totally a joke.
One of them was those origami birds.
yeah, it was like,
A what?
quilt, like,
Were,
thing.
were the, not to interrupt her, were they giving you designs to show their ability or
No.
just their thoughts?
No, these were what they wanted to put down, that's what the RFP asked for.
Yeah, but I don't think that we specified a certain
No,
thing.
no.
I
No,
think that's
we
what we
didn't
talked about.
specify.
General,
In
because we
general,
wanted
this
to.
get a
Yeah.
broad range of different designs, right?
No,
And
we put in there that we wanted it to be
Thanks.
geared for downtown area and the Laingsburg area.
Yeah.
And we wanted to use their creativity to
For
help,
what that was.
to help make a decision.
I
I
like
think we'll have
her
to-
style, like
Yeah.
the child, the grandpa, and the kid sitting on the bench like that.
But what are
Her
the ones
artistic
that-
ability is definitely there, so there's no question, in my opinion, there's no question of that, but like if it was more.
You know, that'd be a
geared
good
towards
one, like,
Downtown.
that'd be a good one, cause the library is downtown there. So it looks like grandpa is reading grandkid a book or something.
And this is going on the connection,
It's
right?
going on the connections.
Yeah, one's
Yeah.
going on connection.
Did she know that, what the connection is? I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, because it could have been.
Well,
like a
she
study
originally had
picture
the
or
girl, with the bubble,
Okay.
blowing the bubbles, in the original. One, cause cause we had actually talked to her about, maybe those bubbles could be like the Ferris wheel or that kind of stuff. Then, once it wasn't gonna be on their building, and she was the only one, again, that did multiple, that was willing to do multiple buildings.
Could we, if we even wanted to, like, approve, like, just the connection one possibly, right? Well, what is ever in that, and then like ask for a second draft or a different rendering of the other building?
So I'm sure she could do a final draft for you,
Like it's, like,
what she had, because this isn't like her final draft. This
Well-
is what we talked about, she threw it together, and then, what we wanted to change about it, and, what was.
what's the group consensus as to what is gaudy? Is it the one on the pharmacy with like the pictures on it, or is it this or both?
I mean, the one on the pharmacy is just not what I would want.
Yep, I agree.
And I'm trying to figure out what meaning is behind it. When I go
On
through
this one?
murals, on all, when I go through, look at a mural, I was like, you know, like the history, the black history in Lansing. I
Right,
was
it
like, yeah,
says,
that
it says
shows
the
it.
story kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
It's
thinking.
Well, and I think
consistent.
that's what her plan is, because it's not her painting, it's a picture, so. if you
Right.
Put the picture there to show that she'll blend all of those things that are town.
When does the mural
Yeah.
have to be done?
We haven't got this decided for what I was just reading, was by early March is when we have to have this into.
But but when does it have to be done?
I think it's in July.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get to make that timeline there, it should be done.
I think it said by
But if we
July.
if we table it this time, are we totally not, is really what?
If we table, do we lose the grant money?
Right, yes, that's what I'm,
I like that other one with the bubbles, and
And
I
I'm
feel
not
like with the
suggesting we do
connections,
that.
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah.
I like her, I like her
Her
design.
artist.
I like that. It's just, it's not the story. I don't see the Laingsburg in here. I mean, I don't really, I mean, Sleepy Hollow, I don't know that Sleepy Hollow, that's just.
Well, there's part of it
Looks
right
like
there.
water.
He's got these other people sitting in his chairs. Where's our campfire and where's our beer?
Well, and then
Yeah,
that-
or your pop or what do you ever drink?
Well, at music
I mean, it's
department,
there.
start bringing some fires in.
Well, downtown, you guys have Winterfest.
Got
You guys have the campfire down there.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a campfire with a horse drawn carriage in the background with people sitting around the fire? You
The
know,
only
that's, she's close to it right here.
so,
Add a couple things to it.
Gonna Elvis carriage day thing?
Okay,
Well,
so
kinda.
what are we approving these tonight, or are we just getting information? 'Cause-
No, this is to approve
We
her to
approve what
do the
picture?
murals.
The only thing you're approving is the artist tonight, and then Olivia, she's gonna bring other things back.
Yes, because this is
Just
like,
the artist herself.
this is
Yeah.
her throwing it together after we talked to her.
Okay, yes.
That- I
So
think
it's
that's what
not
we're-
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking we were making.
No.
it artwork, but
Yeah, 'cause it's
If you
not-
have suggestions, you can make them and we can relay them to her before she gives you your final.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the style.
I agree with that.
I just don't like the story.
She just
I don't
added
think
on
you-
those
but like I said,
briefs
she
she
just
had
threw it
talked about.
together.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, okay, I get what you're
So-
saying.
if we approve the artist, what's the next steps? What's happening?
Do
It's
we?
right
say-
on the timeline.
What,
then-
Cassie?
It's on the very first attachment to the mural, the timeline. Olivia will contact her, the contract will go between her and the city. The artist will complete the final mural design in between April to June, and then she'll paint in July. So there's time to decide on what exactly it's gonna be.
I'm good with that then.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Will we have any say in like what the final, I mean, obviously we'll approve it, but like,
Maybe we throw some
I hate to
ideas.
have her like spend 2 months drawing something and then come whatever the next deadline is and be like, yeah, that's not at all what we're.
Well, or we just specify that we're looking at somewhat what were you thinking, just like your little bit of history here?
Ernie's got a
Oh,
question too.
okay.
I'd suggest just a visioning session right at the beginning, get her on board like a little kickoff meeting. Throw out your ideas, you know.
Maybe a
feed
special-
into what
yeah.
you're looking at, and then she can respond to that. With a draft.
Or the first thing in the.
Does the DDA have to be involved?
No,
That's
Okay.
not February,
I didn't-
April meeting.
I would-
Right.
Well, it's still February.
And she lives in Grand Rapids, so it's a long,
Yeah,
it's a long drive for her to come up from Grand Rapids.
We could get a Zoom though.
I guess Open Meetings Act, do we have to, if we're together, is it an official meeting?
we'd have to have a meeting.
Or do we relay it to Olivia? Since Olivia can talk to her direct, because they already have that relationship. I mean, here there's 9 strangers.
That's true too.
That she's like, oh my God, they don't like what I want to do. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
want to do this at all.
I also think it's better to have your ideas
Yep,
Yes.
and then,
and then give them to her,
Yep.
not just shoot what you know.
Yeah,
So like write them out or try to do a rough sketch. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna be as.
like a
good for-
collage or
Just
something, just
something,
an
yeah.
idea.
I
She's
think
very
we could
easy to
do
work
it.
with.
And less beachy looking.
You think meeting with her?
I mean, or we're back to okay, we have these ideas. Olivia goes and she talks to the artist, says, well, what about this? And it comes back to us, and then we turn around, we go back and,
Right.
and it's, or we say, okay, here's, being blunt, here's our ideas, Olivia and Jim, we're back to the staff. Making the decision. So I wasn't gonna say anything more about that, but that's.
We did vote on to approve that, and maybe that was on our fault. So it just,
Could we not have Olivia relay what we would like to see in the mural, so she can relate it to the artist? The artist could throw a sketch of that together, send it to Olivia, and then Olivia can send it to all of us.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I fear about bringing the artist in here, scaring her away.
Yeah, no, I get it, and it makes sense to have.
Cause it is Olivia's project, and I don't wanna
Mm-hmm.
take that away from her either.
Yeah.
And how long do we have Olivia?
August,
August, okay, I was thinking it was like April.
So I'll make a motion to approve the artist, and we will revamp the designs.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
When you say revamp the design, you mean Olivia talk to her to
Yes.
try to get it
Yeah, I mean,
out to us.
we need to
before
give
the
them
next
our
meeting.
ideas, what
Right.
our thoughts are.
Okay.
What's the process for us giving Olivia our ideas? Do we do-
I guess we'd be up to Olivia, I mean, talk to Olivia, it's like, all right, when do you need it by? If you need it by like next week, well, then all of us need to figure out
Like,
what
just-
we would like.
We all email her.
Yeah.
Just throw this out there. I mean, what if all of our ideas are just completely different? I feel like it's more of a discussion tonight. Like, what do we want? Because if Marcy says carriage days and I say railroad and he says cornfield, I don't know, like.
I want
like-
football.
Right. I mean,
Or you wanna stay within what our thing is here for the, the city where the country and the city meet.
well, I think that's where you get.
Where there's a corn stalks, there's my wagons, there's,
I don't know.
I'm trying to have a sense of humor with
Trying to
it.
streamline it.
I know,
Right, but I'll keep it here all night.
doing it tonight, everybody's minds are in 5 different spots. We would not be organized enough to get through this in a timely manner. We'd be looking at another hour and a half to get
And
through
are
this.
any of us good enough artistically to be able to explain what we
God,
do
no.
and have it make sense? I've certainly.
I can draw stick people.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, yeah, I wanna get this done. It needs to be moving fast. But maybe we set up with Olivia, Kim can talk to her, it's like, hey, city council wants to get some ideas because they don't like what the pictures are, and we know that they were just thrown together. But it shows her talent. That's what we agree.
Yeah.
We like the talent, we like her
Yeah.
style.
Agreed.
Now let's get her some ideas because she doesn't know Laingsburg. She probably doesn't know that the trains went through here. She doesn't know PDP's is the old railroad station. Didn't know about the theater, didn't know about the automobile sales place and the mini grocery store, all this other
Right.
stuff that's been here. A pickle factory. Well, you guys know there's used to be pickle
Yeah.
factory here. Or
Did
dog.
you
food
guys
factory.
come up with a list of 5 things you would like to see on there?
I think 5 is good. Yeah.
And then she out of that picks the common denominator.
We need a wolf though. We need a wolf pack out too. We need a wolf pack for sure. Wolf. So I mean, 5 things from all of us, send them to Kim or Olivia. What would you like?
Well.
Do you want to
I
just go right to
do
Olivia?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we can explain it to her. It's like, this is what city council is looking for. Can we talk this to the artist and see if she can incorporate them together? Because I mean, obviously, she has talent that she could probably merge a lot of those things together. I'm not a big fan of Sleepy Hollow. I know it's out there, but Laingsburg is not Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow is not Laingsburg.
And if we were doing the mural out, we're Sleepy Hollow, trying to get people to come to Laingsburg,
Exactly.
I'm good with it, right? But here in Laingsburg, we're not trying to get people to go to Sleepy Hollow.
And I feel like maybe we do some history of where we were and maybe some things were are current.
And where we
You know
want
what
to
I'm
be.
saying? Yeah, like here's where we were, but here is where we are now.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I think our events, the springtime festival, the some
Winter Fest.
yeah, winter
They've all
fest,
been-
the
All the
pancake
things that
breakfast,
brought
those
up.
things, I
Yeah.
feel like are
Street
part of our
expressions.
is our.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Laingsburg is.
Yes.
So do you guys agree with 5 things? Send it to Olivia.
Yep.
And let, her and the artist can decipher what
to come up with.
So what timeline you wanna give us, a week to do this, or less than a week?
I would,
or-
I would
Friday.
say,
By Friday?
Olivia's on vacation this week.
Oh,
she gets
so,
vacations and fellow.
so we can, what, Monday, bombard her
Monday,
Monday?
get it to her by Monday,
Monday.
so we can inundate her in emails.
A week from today.
Next time, but they sooner.
Not even matter, she's gonna see it on Monday, so.
Oh, because we'll be here anyway.
well, She remembers it.
For that special meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor.
That's that
Fire- fire-
Yeah, but it's
And we
not-
got
The meet.
motion second on the floor.
Sorry, there,
Well,
yeah,
I know.
okay. So do we have a motion second? All in favor of approving the artist, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Aye. Sorry. All right, motion to pass resolution 2406, protest by letter of board of review. I think this is, all we're really saying here is that people coming to the board of review can do so in writing as opposed to showing up here
Yep.
in person.
It's a thing we, last year they started with. There we go. Yep.
So,
Make a motion.
Second.
any more discussion, any questions? All right, all in favor of passing resolution 2406? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, that resolution has passed. Building services. Okay. We brought up talking about the guy in Perry, right? Changing, so we did get a letter, I don't know if you guys saw this, from Pete.
Yes.
Saying that we have 90 days to do something different. I'm not sure what item 2 really means.
I don't like the way it's worked.
Well, I don't either. I don't either. And frankly, I'm gonna be blunt. I'm just on a roll tonight. I'm not investing another damn dime in this county if we maintain the county is doing our work.
I don't want to put John through that either.
Right, no,
I just, I mean, I agree, because I got personal things where I don't want to deal with them either, but
Yep.
it's more of what is it gonna cost the city as a whole is what I
Oh,
look
I get
at.
it.
But the
Yeah.
way that this is worded, we give up all control with
Yeah.
no absolute interference, that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
Great. So we need to do something.
Yep.
Um,
I did talk to the guys from Duran, just
Yep.
looking around, it was written in here. They charge Vernon about 1,000 a month, so they're $12,000.
Yep.
And that's without the extra stuff that the guy from Perry was with, so.
How much was the guy from Perry again?
10,000.
For a year.
Yeah, the only,
He was cheaper.
he was
about
cheaper.
$800 a month.
The only issue is we got what, zoning, what is
We
it
have
called?
it electrical,
Yeah.
we have the zoning.
Okay, so we have to worry
He
about,
said I think he would,
He
yes,
would do the building
electrical.
stuff too.
I don't know if the zoning included his 10,000.
yeah, that, we'd have to figure out what that would be,
Yes,
where we
he said he
appoint
would
somebody
do
else
the
to do
zoning
it.
for the 10th.
Yeah.
Okay,
He did, yes,
so
yes, he did. We can verify that, but
he would take it on.
Rob Keogh's is a,
I mean, the only downside is, I mean, you can see the numbers, there may be a year where we only get $3,000. So
Yeah.
we're losing $7,000. That's where is it best for the whole of the city to do that?
What other options do we have?
We don't, because
Right.
there's no way I'm gonna go to the county with how that was worked.
Yep. And I agree with that.
So I guess I would make a motion reluctantly to approve the gentleman from Perry to take over the inspection.
How you gonna
part.
explain that to people that don't do all this construction on their houses around here? You pay them more now.
Think about it as the better the whole instead of the individual.
They're gonna look at, oh, you own a business. So you're in it for yourself. I can hear it already.
Yeah, but
Just
this
saying.
guy's gonna be way better to deal with than if they had to deal with.
it's not just building.
No, it's like
It's
fences.
houses.
Expensive.
If you're doing the,
Tax so high, I can't afford to do anything in my house. I work all the time, pay for taxes here. Just saying.
I second. I second.
okay, do we have any more discussion?
Well, my discussion for that would be, if you really want to, I have a feeling if we asked the 3 people on the council that have personal vendettas for this to not vote,
I would say that's.
I'm
the
gonna
short
guess
word,
it's
but
still gonna
not.
pass.
No.
Well, it'll be on record on it. It'll be on record.
Right. That's fine, I mean, record's fine.
Right.
But you
Just
need to-
saying.
Like I said, I looked at both sides.
Right.
how will this affect, the plan review for the project? That's why we're waiting.
Have you applied for a building permit?
We haven't yet.
We will make sure it happens with the new guy.
Okay. And he's got capacity.
We need to work through that. Yeah, he said it's not a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. We can call him and we can find out. But
And he's
Just
been
like
in business for a while.
Esku
and-
does his MEPs. That's mechanical, electrical, plumbing. That's
He
the
has,
hard part.
yeah, I don't remember, but he has people who do that. So we talked about that, so.
He does Perry and they give him a high rating and nobody gives your building inspector a high rating, so.
He does a lot of the surrounding, like Chesaning, from Chesaning to Perry, everything in between, it seemed like, actually, maybe.
He gives his cell phone, he'll be here one day and kind of thing, but we weren't getting that from the other people.
Can you share his name?
Rob Kehoe.
Rob Kehoe?
Kehoe, yeah.
So we keep him-
All right, so this is money, so let's do a roll call. Any more discussion? Sorry, I asked and you had more discussion than I didn't go
Oh,
back.
no.
No, you were good. It was me. It was, yeah. So any more discussion? All right. Roll
Miller,
call.
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Ellen? Yes. Nichols?
No,
Yes.
Kiesler,
That's fast.
Beavers?
She said
Yes.
that.
Beaver.
Yes. Okay,
that's on record.
Thank
Night,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So who's getting a hold of him? That's,
thank you. Can you get a hold of him?
Yeah.
And we can call him too.
And that's if I remember correctly, he said we can cancel it anytime if it's not.
Yeah.
working out too.
Yeah, but you cancel them, then what? You already pissed the county off.
Well, that's already done.
Then you get to find someone else and it might be even more.
I already did that. I already talked to
Yeah.
the county. I was,
Did you ever find out what he meant by the wording on?
no, that was what I
That is
got. That was what I got.
That's the letter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he never did call me back for it. So. And I've just been, frankly, February was a bad month.
You're stewing.
Yeah. No, it was just a bad month. So we didn't. All right, community cleanup. I will look at,
oh, just, okay, community cleanup. So Randy and I have, he's been gathering some expenses for Granger to help us. We got a couple of approaches, that we could do, but all of them were kind of expensive. And so cut to the chase, I guess. We're kind of thinking maybe don't want to do a community cleanup unless someone is really like want to convince us. We have other things we could spend our money on, I guess, and our time on, and I think one of the bids was what, $10,000?
Yeah, I'll kind of touch on that a little
Yeah,
bit. So like,
go ahead.
I mean, last year, the feedback was it didn't go great. We obviously collected a lot of stuff, but it just wasn't great. So we needed to come up with an alternative solution. So we looked at what it would cost to have like Granger trash trucks come and like park at McClintock Park, wherever everybody in town could bring stuff to them. They would load it in their trash trucks and haul it away after 4 hours or whatever. And that was like $4,500, I think, roughly. And then the alternative option was for everybody to put everything up to the curb, 2 Granger trucks, 2 or 4 Granger trucks come in for a few hours, go to everybody's house, pick up all their trash, which sounds great. That'd be awesome, but it was like $10,500. And Gail and I talked, and we just both agree that wouldn't really be wise to spend that money, and I don't want to bring that to you guys. Like, that's not my recommendation. So, and
Cause didn't you guys get a bunch of stuff that couldn't be taken in either, that wasn't
Yeah.
recyclable, and you guys get stuck with a bunch of stuff?
No,
well,
we
like-
had dumpsters.
well,
but it
but the
didn't-
recycling people that run that, they out of their own pocket spent, that we had over like 65 TVs. I think they spent out of their own $10 per TV, like $650 out of their own pocket. to
Really?
Have those to pay
Well,
Because you have to pay to, like.
10, what?
I thought it was $50 per TV.
I think it was 10.
Was it 10? Okay, I could.
But
Wow.
it's either way,
Yeah.
$650,
Yeah.
$3,000. It was a lot of money to,
Mhm.
for them to put out our money. It just didn't go great last year.
Well, I mean, for the first time, we got rid of a lot of stuff. We had sponsors that did it. I did feel like people liked it as far as that goes, but it was a lot of work for the volunteers.
Yeah.
People got rid of a lot of stuff. It wasn't the stuff we'd like them to have gotten rid of,
Hmm.
but they did get rid of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It didn't accomplish what we were hoping last year.
And I'm good with that decision, but did we think about just bringing in like 3 dumpsters? Putting them out here and having people as opposed to trucks? I mean, you can get a dumpster, big dumpster for a week for
You know, what I'd worry about with that too,
You gotta monitor. it,
Yeah.
right?
I'm not saying keep
I
them out
mean,
there, I'm.
because the city residents not, you know, people outside the city using it, cause they think our lagoons is theirs too, but it's.
We did discuss it, I think we just felt like our efforts could be better placed elsewhere.
Again, I'm just.
And our money too, because it's still money.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, it was just the question that popped into my head.
Or we do like an Earth Day, go around and pick up not that garbage, but like just pick up.
But so we did that last year as
Oh,
well, and
Okay,
there was.
how'd that go?
There wasn't a lot trash, and we
Okay.
had, Gail had an army of people doing it, and it was wasted effort.
It was.
For Earth Day?
Well,
It
we did the
wasn't on-
first
oh,
day,
it
we
was
did.
On the community cleanup last year.
Oh, I
We
thought
did
maybe
all-
Earth Day or something, we
Walked
kind
around and picked up trash on the side of the.
yeah,
I
gotcha.
just feel like that I had a lot of people volunteer at a time that they could be volunteering at the pancake breakfast or some other, like when I put a thing out to get volunteers, I just don't feel like that those volunteers did enough to warrant doing it again. That's my,
All right, do we need a motion?
No.
Are we good? We're just gonna.
Not doing it this year.
our recommendation is not to go forward.
Unless Marcy really wants to do it herself.
No, I'm busy. I'm busy working to pay for my high taxes.
Okay, Greg, Becca, you guys good with that decision?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, just wanna make sure. We're not gonna do anything. All right, next, bills. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion.
Can I get a second?
Aye.
Yeah, sorry, something else popped in my head. All right, all in favor? Do we need to do a roll call? I don't remember.
Pay bills, my cash, money.
Yeah, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Nichols.
Yes.
Kiesler,
Yes.
Beavers.
Yeah.
Easley.
Yes. So something I should have brought. Yeah, committee reports.
Finance.
You wanna do finance? Okay, so Danielle was in here, and we talked about the budget summary that was in our packet tonight. About, that she's been working on the budget and getting the numbers in there, and, that she had some training today too, to help with that, and the training that we set up, she did find it very beneficial. She really did like the person that came out today, and really, we asked some questions about that sort of stuff, so I wouldn't say there was a whole lot of other. Unless you can remember anything else that I felt like. Oh, yeah, this. So she talked about our general fund. So our general fund is the fund that's basically not tagged to be spent specifically. And based on all the other cities in the state, we are in 95 percentile of the amount of money we have in our general fund. So we are very
Favorably positioned.
yes,
And you
and conservative.
define what 95% of what?
All other cities in Michigan.
Of all population?
So,
Yes.
yeah.
All cities.
Yes, and she is gonna try to do it where it's more just the size cities that we are and look at it again, but
The 95% of what?
95 percentile.
it's kind of like, how tall are you? You're in the 95 percentile.
So we have,
So we have a good amount of funding
If
in
I-
our general fund.
I get that, but.
And I guess the question is, how much money do we have in it? Because other cities, are they in the red? And that's
Right.
why, and we have
Right.
$1 in the black? Hey, we're
Right,
95%.
well, that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm asking is.
She's gonna
is-
fine tune those
Can't find a
numbers.
specific number, we
Okay.
didn't have it. It was something that they talked about today, but it does kind of show over our time frame. At one point, we were 50%.
Mhm.
So we have been going up. But yes, she's gonna get it more with just looking at cities our size and how much it is, so, but it just gives you an idea that we are being financially conservative.
And that's the unrestricted general fund, not
Right.
restricted general fund.
Not
All right.
tagged for anything in particular.
Any questions on the finance? All right, police.
Please, let's see here. That. I had 19 reports. 52 total traffic stops and 29 traffic tickets issued. Then ordinance violation warnings, that was minimal to one abandoned vehicle and one for trash. And then the chief attended the Michigan Chief Association conference meeting in Grand Rapids. And then also, I don't know, do you want to talk on, you want me to just ramble with this, the junior achievement, you want more of it? I mean, I don't know if you want to go in detail or just.
Junior achievement went to the middle school,
Yeah.
so different professionals went there, elementary, to tell them about their profession, so I did it on police and fire.
Trying to promote little younger kids into.
The thing with the junior achievement, they came to the LBCA and talked to us up there, but they just got into Laingsburg. Because I guess Laingsburg talked to them last year about trying to get junior achievement going. Nobody came to Laingsburg, so they're just now starting to get in here. So hopefully we will start seeing a lot more of junior achievement activities. But Kayla, you're a grad from that or an alumni.
Right, and what the good thing is when they go to, well, I took some, when I was in Bath, but it's good if they go in the classroom and they kind of bring their own supplies and it gives the teachers a break too. And they have such a good curriculum that's teaching kids about financial, checking accounts and credit cards and so many different things that she was very, she's basically adopted our city. This is on the outskirts of where she is, and it definitely is a good thing for leadership too.
So hopefully we'll see more of that. Maybe the city can get involved a little bit. I don't know what the city can do, but it's just an option. I don't know if the chief is interested, but they go to like Waverly, East Lansing schools. I already told them that I'll go if they want me to go and talk to them too, but it's just something to look into. If you guys are available, no, let them know you can go to.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, seen it a few times.
Zoning Board of Appeals minutes, this is a new one.
Yeah, all right, so we met for the first time since November of 2021, and we accepted the bylaw changes, basically, which regulated the attendance. That's it.
Okay, planning commission, this one was primarily what we talked about tonight, the site plan application and review and all the questions for Jen West and then Rich Hafner, so 105 and 205 and those type of things. Talking about property maintenance code, still working through that. The other thing was the zoning amendment changes that we approved tonight. The front door. That was the bulk of that. DDA. I was not here, so.
So they talked a lot about the Main Street again. Olivia kept them up to date with what was going on with that. They did talk about the music in the park and that they were willing to give up to $500 for the consultant.
Yeah.
The Face Forward is coming up. So we reminded them of that next month they will get the applications. We're getting them sent to them by email. And then so they will have a decision. March 15th. The home decoration display, they put that to discuss in March. They want to split that bill with the council. So that's something we talked about, didn't really.
What is that?
What is it?
It's the decorations that go downtown, the lights that the hometown.
It's hired out by another company.
Yeah.
They want to split the cost of hiring that company.
How much is it?
Like 1,700, roughly 1,700.
Yeah, I think it went up like $50 or something.
Yeah.
Because I guess city council used to split it and then somehow DDA took the whole thing on. They want to know if we want to go back to splitting it half.
They got to the point, they said it's for the downtown area, so they took it over and
Now they're.
now they want to split it.
Okay. And then we discussed the Lang parking lot, what I called it, 'cause I didn't know really what to call it. That's talking about the parking lot that we could put up behind John's building. So we're going that area that the city owns. It was kind of discussed beforehand, a little bit when we were talking about,
Behind where Jen's gonna be?
Wood
Um,
storage building.
yeah. It was brought up at the planning, I believe.
Yeah, we talked about the planning
Yeah.
commission as well.
So, something I wanna get back on the table, and if there was a misunderstanding. Don't know where the misunderstanding was, could have been with me. But did we say we didn't wanna talk about food trucks down in that area? Do we wanna have Olivia go back to looking at that?
I'm thinking we said no.
Did
I
we?
thought-
That's what I'm asking.
I thought we said
That's-
no.
That's what Olivia thinks.
I think we said no.
Okay, okay.
I think there was
I-
prior confusion and
Okay.
we've since clarified it.
Okay, I'm good. I was confused.
Can I bring back up that decorating, splitting the cost? So they're asking, and we're supposed to make a decision on it, and if it is, I just want to mention, I feel like we put up the lights, I mean, our crew puts up the lights and some of the other things, they're just. I mean, I
They
feel
put
like we already do some stuff,
We
right?
do, we wrap the poles, we put up the white lights,
Oh,
they do all, they put up the candle and the.
Little reeds
but I'm just
and
saying,
all
I
the
feel
stuff
like we
that's-
already do contribute, I guess, to that, but. Are we gonna make a decision on that, or we just?
No, that was tabled for them.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Or-
official.
Oh,
It's not on
okay,
our agenda, it's on their.
okay, that's not even.
They're
an
gonna
issue.
discuss it in March
They
to
talked.
see if,
Okay,
We got,
what they
it's not
want
like we
to
don't
do.
have time.
okay,
Okay,
that's what I.
anything else?
They chose the sign,
Did they?
yep,
What side?
the one that goes up on the corner.
Oh, so I guess I was under the assumption that city council was gonna approve that.
They're paying
No,
for
the
it.
Oh, they are.
paying for
Oh,
it.
they are. Okay. I
The
didn't know that.
signs
They're
are
their
there.
projects.
Good.
Have we heard?
How much more time do I gotta work?
Have you heard?
Taxes are moving up.
Nope, he did ask about where to send for the building stuff,
Okay.
but I
I
started
haven't had a chance.
waiting on what we were doing. So
All right.
moving on to it, so I knew, so now I can tell him, go ahead, so.
Laingsburg Library.
Well. Carpet tiles and everything, we got quotes for that. We decided to do carpet instead of wood floor, correct? That's what I thought. They're thinking about the springtime festival. We were reviewing our budget because there was something in there that was originally at 4,000, but our budget had to change because it's just not there. But Friends of the Library decided to cover the other two so that it would put our budget to where it's level. So they're gonna cover $2,000 of our $4,000 that's allocated towards our books that we buy every year. We're also gonna do a mini art show. And they're gonna pass out more bookmarks for the springtime festival to be in the parade, which is super exciting.
Is your meeting next Monday?
We do have one next Monday, and then we have to do that after this one, but I did kind of want to say, just touch base. We did do a bake sale for Valentine's Day, and we made a little over $1,200 in one day for our library. So that's all money that they get to kind of figure out what we're gonna do with the funding for it. But I think that next year we're gonna end up going with doing it for 2 days, on Thursday and Friday, possibly into the weekend, because we still had a couple things down there. I mean, she made $300 the next day just on some of the things that were left over. So it was
And
pretty
you didn't
exciting.
put the money in the Friends of it.
We did not put it in the Friends of the Library. That's something that we're discussing as a board at the moment. But yeah.
That's a lot of money for a bake sale. Very
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, isn't it pretty good? We were pretty excited about
Hmm.
it. We have a really good board now, so it's really nice to have everybody kind of come in. We had people dropping stuff off up until we were getting
Really?
ready to close.
Oh,
Yep, that's what I'm.
All right, so other items, do we have any?
nope, I've got LSW.
Oh, LSW.
Yeah, DPW.
Oh, did I miss those?
They're not,
Okay.
these are not different. I don't know. if they're-
Yeah. John?
So, with LSW, the ambulance for the city had 9 calls. I've got the January 2024 here. I didn't have February's yet. Scioto, for ambulance had 8 calls, Woodhall 19. They had 4 mutual aids. Total calls for the month is 40, year to date is 40. Fire rescue, city had 3, Scioto had 5, Woodhall had 13, Victor 6, Bennington had 0. They had 4 mutual aids and total calls for the month of 31, year to date is 31. And a little bit we talked about, we're trying to get language, to, up the mills or the millage to 2 mills. Because it's been over 40 years that we're setting that now and it doesn't pay for the new fire trucks and stuff that's coming. So I guess we need to, I guess we're trying to get language for that to be put on the ballot.
Who does that?
They've got to
Have a
turn,
early game looking at the
Okay.
language and
Okay.
then they'll go out to the municipalities.
Yeah, okay.
so basically it's gonna need to get the language and it'll go for 5, another 5, it'll go for 5 years, right? And then we relook at it too, I guess, because things are going way up, sky high for everything.
Do you think people are gonna vote to raise their taxes with that?
Well, I don't know, but it'd be a good investment, because otherwise we might not have a fire department, which keeps going the way it's going. Might be someone coming from who knows where, and you're gonna lose everything you got, so. That's the biggest thing, I mean, how bad you want your property.
No, I know, you were talking about property taxes going up, I just wanted.
Well, this ain't, it's gonna be, I think we figured it, 2 mills would be like, what, about $300 a year, so about what you pay for your trash. Service, like Granger, or,
Same as the ambulance service.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we
Alright.
got really old trucks and stuff because we've been operating on 40+ years, same, hardly any money. But, I mean, I look at schools and how much money is being spent on that, you know, but.
All right, DPW.
One of the biggest things was the truck we just tried to get fixed through a rod.
Oh.
So Dave called me and says, what should we do with it? It's like, just get rid of the thing. It's gonna be in the way. So did you scrap it or?
Yeah.
You got something out of it, but it
Yeah, we
was
got
cheaper than putting a new
some
engine.
money out of it and took the tires off, I think we just put it on there.
Yeah, it was gonna be it was gonna be sold within 2 years anyway,
It
so.
was 18 years old and it was the rough estimate.
And you couldn't get 23 years out of it?
I tried.
Yeah, okay.
So I talked to Greg and we just set it up and I put a replacement on my list for this year, so.
That and what, you wanna look at the spider for the bank mowers?
You know,
What else? I mean, it wasn't well.
we talked a lot about the Grand River project.
Yep.
We don't know when that's gonna start yet, but we did the trees and stuff today, so.
Gave us staff raises, right? Gave raises or?
It's in the budget.
Okay, so it'll be in the budget, so they'll get moved up to be a little bit more competitive than what they are, so.
We just talked about Dave's wish list of
Yeah.
what needs to be replaced, what's coming.
It's very
to-
massive.
But
That was very big.
yeah, and scheduled, trying to keep up with scheduled maintenance on the doors, that way they don't get as bad as they were this year.
Yeah.
Cause it hasn't been done
Wish
in years.
list should be handsome.
Yes.
Right,
So you can cut
Right.
it down.
And then the, what, the
Yeah, we
80,
need-
the 88, big dump truck,
Yep.
get rid of that.
Yeah,
We're looking to get rid of it, because it's
It's
seen the years,
it's an 89.
89 with like 40,000 miles on it, but it's an 89.
I'm curious, with us trying to like, with the Main Street and have more events and do different things, when are we gonna repaint the bathrooms and the 2 parts? Isn't that on the schedule?
Apparently not. Painting the bathrooms.
What do you want repainted? The inside we just did 2 years
Oh.
ago over here.
I feel like in the floor there, I'll go over there and look, but I felt like the floor, there was areas of the floor that. Especially Batesville Park, when's the last time you did that 2 years ago too?
Bates is scheduled, that is on my list to do this year.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But over here, we
I was-
completely went through this over here, floors, walls.
That's all we got for DPW.
Okay, couple things I have, speaking of raises. Chief requested one, so we need to make sure we get that on the books. I don't know how we check budget and get it going. Sorry, I haven't done anything with it.
No, I talked to Dinah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
And we're working on it.
Okay, perfect, so, so there's that, and how did you send out this packet? Was it different than how you sent other packets?
I did, because I was at home,
Okay.
and I don't know how it, I don't know why it did that, it
Well-
just did it because I was on my computer or
So
laptop.
what I found was,
Did you,
it was
were you
over
able to
25
get it?
I would, anybody that was on a Windows box that was able to get to a Google, so what happened was, the packet was over 25 meg. When you emailed, because I tried to then email it, because I was able to open it, tried to email it to her, I couldn't, you'd put it into a Google link, Google Drive with a link. So what I think happened is, do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Do you have an iPhone? You have an iPhone? Who else has an iPhone? Were you able to open it on your phone? You were able to open it on your computer?
Computer, yeah.
On your computer,
Yeah, but
right?
not the phone.
I think the iPhones weren't able to open that. The
I got it
Google-
open on my iPhone, but it was,
I did.
different. It was a little challenging, but
Yeah.
if it's just a attached PDF.
It's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, I don't know why it did that. I did it exactly how I do it here in the office. And then I noticed it was kind of weird and I'm like, did everybody get that? 'Cause I'm like, I don't know how that, what happened to it.
So that's what I
Format was just
determined.
different. And also, the packets are on the website. You can go to agendas and minutes and you can look at it there too. They're,
Can I still come pick them up on Friday?
yes, you
Cool.
can. But if you can't like see something or something.
I mean, my eyes, I
You can
look
always
at
go
the phone
there.
all day long. I'm on trouble route, so I'm sick of looking at the phone and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Any other business? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make my motion.
All right.